But the 60 seconds has elapsed, and so I exit the before times. Yes, X has joined us. We are now in the normal times.
Sorry, I was in the middle of the thing.
It's fine. It's fine. We literally.
More of I was listening on a thing for it has some.
I mean, hey, made perfect
I'm
timing.
gonna try to like sort that out because I have to figure out how to design shit. So it's been a whole thing.
You got it right in time for the stream to actually start, so you made good time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Worked out good, because we're in it. Howdy, chat.
Actually, I have a question for you after the fact.
Yes, we're streaming fine. Welcome to Fail Portrayal. There was a little bit of a question if we were going to fail Portrayal today. The new 14 patch just dropped. New MSQ, the new normal raids tier, etc. But enough people did get back to me to start FP, and I did shortly while we were in the getting ready for the before times. Loth did message me that he is currently out getting coffee, so we're going to vamp for a little bit till he can get here, but he will join us, which is good because today's episode will be the little fortune fairies and ladies, which was the monthly, that's the word I'm looking for, the monthly poll suggestion on the Studio Mega Patreon for Fail Portrayal. So it won, and that's going to be that one. And that's, I call out Loth because it was his suggestion, because he is the thing in there. He suggested it, and it's a fan favorite deck of his. One of his pet decks, we'll say.
Also,
so,
the Discord UI has been a nightmare for me.
It's not the only thing I really changed was like making the server icons smaller, which I'm not a fan of, but it's like a minor change in the grand
They
scheme.
made the bottom and top parts way thicker, so it just makes its perception, scale. My screen's more annoying for my eyes.
It looks a little different. It might take some getting used to, and some people may have to manually adjust. There are some customizations they can do. I do like, to completely change it about the Discord update, I do like that I set mine to, like, actual dark mode, so now I'm in, like, the super dark, I think, because I'm pretty sure this update has, like, light mode, medium mode, dark mode, so I'm like, yes, better.
I've had the neon light setting for all time because I like that nice shade.
But
mine's like a purple to yellowy sunburst color. It's like it's slightly more poppy than dark mode, so it looks a little nicer.
But you can
I think I've seen that one. I think that was my second choice. Honestly.
But yeah, we'll pop over to Loth. But I can at least show chat really quick since we are stalling a little bit. I'll give you a preview of tomorrow. I'll let it be on screen for a little bit. We are not as clean as last week. We are dropping a few frames. Not as terrible as it can be, but not as clean as like last week was super clean. I think I got some alerts from last week.
Literally Seekers of Eternity. Holy shit.
14 stream. Yeah, it's called Seekers of Eternity. It's great.
We can't do that joke. Lucky will kill us.
On stream, yes. We cannot get into a Secrets of Eternity.
Also because in March of 2025.
Also because we have to define it as a version of released in March 24th.
No, it was the 25th. The patch is live today. There was an all-day maintenance. It's Tuesday.
Fair, then I guess released March 2025.
It's fine. Like I said, we don't. Lucky will kill us if we bring the Secrets of Eternity joke into the 14 stream and just do it all day.
Released
but
in January of 2013.
Yeah.
So
but this is what the thumbnail's gonna look like.
Lucky would drop kick you. I'm sorry, man.
Look, he will, and I'll do it for the bit. I will.
I appreciate the integrity that will get you killed one day.
It's fine. But yeah, that's the thumbnail I set up because I'm using the patch splashes for new 14 thumbs. But enjoy that tomorrow. Where we'll start.
But yeah, actually, while we're vamping, hi guys, I'm back. I was dying for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I had norovirus, and I was not a real person. I lost, I think, 15 pounds over these 2 weeks. It's been fun.
Damn. Not great.
Yesterday was the mark of me, I think back to full. I have an appetite. I can eat food. I can eat fast food and not want to die. I say right as I sound like I just cough like death.
I'm real. I cough like it every time I eat something my body doesn't like, which is most food, because I have 6 different food intolerances. So I just kind of learned to suck it up because if you eat enough of it in small doses, your body just sucks it up. It's like milk for most people.
Yeah, I just munched down like a chicken Philly because it was lighter than like a burger and stuff, but I still like right now I'm in like that honeymoon phase. Like I can eat like ass again, so I'm gonna eat like a day or two just get that craving out of me, and then I'll go back to trying to be normal.
So we do have a couple of Yugi businesses. There's
Oh
been
my
a few
God,
topics
Scythe?
bandied about, but this is
yeah.
despite the fact that we did have a Vegas Open tournament and there's been some calls for the ban list, no TCG ban list has yet been forthcoming. But the OCG did just drop a new ban list, and sometimes you can get some ideas of what Konami's thinking about from the OCG list. And I do want to say it's pretty interesting. So the OCG banned Scythe finally. I think Scythe has been banned in the TCG for like at least 1 year, maybe
For
2.
ages, forever.
It's been several years, I think, at this point. Like I said, 1 or 2. It's probably 2 or 3, and just I don't want to acknowledge the passage of time. But also shout out to them, fucking straight up banning summon limit. They're like, no, 1 summon limit is too many. You're still being too annoying. Stop it.
I remember reading. Not to get ahead of ourselves, I've seen Seventh Tachyon a lot. I've read it once or twice. It looked silly, but it never seemed like busted. But I'm guessing there's...
So, Seventh
need
Tachyon is
nonsense.
one of the spells that was released for the new Tachyon stuff, which means it's searchable, by the way. It's a Tachyon spell.
Well, there's
trap.
new Tachyon stuff. Well, that... Okay.
Yeah.
all
That
right.
just dropped in the Maze of the Master stuff that came out with the new Odeon
Like, I could not
cards.
find your joke. I could not find that video saying where it talks about what the definition of nothing is, unfortunately.
I mean, it's literally just you watch that, everything you need to know. You got to watch it with your eyeballs, though, because it's like purely a text. It's a text joke about Jaxel's editor. He at one point in the Curry Bandits video says, something about an archetype, and it's like, and their combos are just are nothing. They're not real. And then I felt so seen for completely no reason, but literally it pops up with a text. Editor's note. By the way, what I mean when I say they're fake, they're not real, is yes, I understand they actually have combos, but I don't even remember what archetype it was. It may have been
doesn't
about
result in
either
anything
Trickstar or
like
Unions.
physical.
But it doesn't result in anything meaningful. And I'm like, wow, that is really the quickest shorthand for usually what I mean when I joke about something being fake or not real is like, yes, it's probably tangible. I'm not being literal, but
you could just say inconsequential.
Axe, do you know how many more fucking syllables and characters inconsequential is than just saying fake? Have you been on the
Fake
internet
is-
for
you see,
25 years?
I get that, but like it can also, I just implicating something that's not what you mean is a bigger deal in cases. But that's
Now,
because
welcome to language drift,
I would
buddy.
have a heart attack from anxiety one day.
Welcome to language drift, buddy. Anyway, no. To explain 7th Tachyon, sorry, we got off on a sub-tangent there, a sub-tweet. Though you should watch the Everything You Need to Know videos. They're very great. But 7th Tachyon is a spell that says, reveal a number monster between 101 and 107. I believe it stops at 7.
Yeah, because the chaos numbers.
Yeah. Add to your deck a monster that is either the same, I want to say,
I got it pulled up.
yeah. What is it? Because it's like almost small world.
Add
level
one
bullshit.
monster with same type and/or attribute as the revealed monster, and a level equal to its rank. It's essentially small world.
Yeah.
For
numbers. So basically,
for your
anything
chaos
that's
numbers.
that's a level 8 light dragon searches all of those.
Level 4 waters, because Silent Honor Arc.
Well, also,
Ragnar's-
guess what,
and
Vesper? I
Ragnar's
remember how you said the chaos numbers? Chaos numbers are still numbers. So you can reveal those too. So it also searches level 5 waters.
Oh, the chaos. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
no, that's the problem.
It's a good shark card too.
The big thing in that's going to be seen in the TCG is it produces a fairly reliable FTK with Catapult Turtle. Because Turtle is a water who is 5,
Awesome.
and is searchable. The OCG actually has, I think, Catapult Turtle straight up banned, and they've had that done for years. So we'll see if this is the thing that kills him, because basically what you do is if you're playing a deck that gets you to 7th Tachyon, you can summon a Numeron Dragon with like 20,000 attack points, and then or I think it's like 10k, and Catapult Turtle is dumb and just does the exact amount of attack as damage. You normal summon one Catapult Turtle, you make a huge fucking Numeron Dragon, your opponent is instantly dead. So
Catapult Turtle is just a fair and balanced card.
Yeah. So we'll see. But also, as pointed out, it searches like literally everything, including, by the way, Ryzeals. Because you can search level 4 fires and lights, I believe. Because guess what? There's a Battling Boxer who's a number 10.
Oh yeah,
100 plus.
right. Yeah, well yeah, because like the chaos numbers are what? Battling Boxer, Shark, Tachyon, Ragna Zero.
Yeah,
let me just pull up Battle Pro now, because it's like
there's an absolute like shitload of cards 7th Tachyon searches. So the OCG already semied it, and now they're gonna move to limiting it. Obviously, it literally just came out like last month in the TCG. So,
yeah, we've got Silent Honor Arc, Star Seraphs, so light fairies 4 and 5, Ragna Zero, so water / fairy 4 and 5, Masquerade, so light and dark spellcaster, so light spellcaster 4, dark spellcaster 5, Battling Boxer, so fire warrior.
yeah.
Giant Hand, Earth, Rock,
I got a question.
and 107 is Galaxy Ice Tachyon. So,
Like, damn.
I think the only thing it doesn't search is wind.
yeah.
Oof.
Damn.
What was your question, Axe?
What is a fair and balanced card that everyone actually agrees on is an actually like liked card for being fair and balanced? It's not a pot card.
I mean, there are lots of cards that people I think agree broadly are fair and balanced.
I would arguably say, like, I don't know if everyone agrees with it, but like to kind of go to like the load-bearing card concept that MBT discussed like a while back, Ash Blossom probably falls into that like category.
Ash
of, like,
Blossom is a card that even in the TCG where there's no maxi, people just kind of accept that, like, yeah, you're probably maining 3 Ash. It's a card that, like, you can only ever Ash once, so it doesn't stop. Like, if you have multiple Ashable interactions, you can play around or play through Ash, but it's pretty good enough. Valor, I think, is a card that I think people universally agree is balanced. Like, that's Valor is being a one of in a lot of decks these days. I personally do find it very annoying that Infinite Impermanence can target normal summoned monsters, but most people are pretty evenly on Imperm, because it's you know, it's literally just effect Valor but magenta unless you get to set it first. So there's a wide variety of things. Like, I think there's a decent number of cards that people are playing that they think feel fairly balanced. And, like, honestly, I think the only complaint people have about the Mulcharmies is the price tag. Like, most people saw these and went, oh, this is what Maxi always should have been. This is a card that, like, does not react to literally every kind of special summoning, so you have to actually, like, dynamically pick which Mulcharmy you want to fire.
Punishes
and yes, technically does have a punish. Like, if your opponent somehow manages to summon, like 10 times from extra deck, but still only ends on one asshole, you're gonna have to shuffle a lot of those cards back. Like, it has counterplay to it. As a complete aside, actually, this is another thing that's come up lately that I've been seeing about. I have actually seen a little bit of a discussion fired off by one Peeps Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually. He's specifically been in a conversation about hand traps and hand traps resolving lately, including doing a stream where people challenged him on it. The card he seems number 1 caught up on is Crossout Designator, which is an interesting one because I think Crossout Designator is like has been for a couple of years thought of as pretty bad in the TCG, and obviously is like more critical in the OCG and Master Duel, where it's severely limited. I think you can only play 1 Crossout Designator in Master Duel and OCG. In the TCG, it's like it's a 3x. So we'll see how they feel about that. But I think that Peeps has an interesting argument he's talked about where, like, somebody I think I saw him figure out the shortest way to supply it just randomly on Twitter. Somebody like asked him a question, which is basically like, okay, so it's okay for my opponent to activate something that stops my play, but not me to activate something that stops their play. And he was like, my short answer is yes. And the idea is that he says he thinks that because the idea is that the hand traps you have are inherently for, if you're going second, you have so much of a bigger hill to climb anyway that, you know, the value of your interruptions is worth so much more than your opponent's interruptions back. Like, because you're going second, there's already so few plays you have, basically, before you even get to your turn. And your opponent's going to set up so many more interactions on their board that, like, their hand traps should have more value.
It's the way he phrased the question as in saying, like, him as in the turn 2 player, not as him PP.
I mean, well, yes, but also yes. I don't. That's. It's not. I'll say this. He's not doing like a bit axe where he's specifically like getting killed by Crossout Designator. It's a philosophical argument about the nature of the Yu-Gi-Oh game. That is a question with content creators, but yeah, no, it's a question. My personal take is, I get where he's coming from, and I do think that depending on what you're doing, if you're in the TCG, if you're in a proper best-of-3 format, where Maxi doesn't exist and is a card that must be negated, and that is the intended wave of play, and I say there's a flaw with Maxi because the intended counterplay to Maxi is to skip your turn. Why do I say this? Because every fucking AI deck in Master Duel, if you Maxi them in solo mode, skips their turn, basically. They just set cards and pass. Nobody takes the Maxi challenge because the programmers were like, oh, there's no way we can program a computer to know when the right time to challenge Maxi is. We have to just tell them if you get Maxi'd, stop.
Yeah.
It feels like a thing in design where it's like, maybe this is a problem.
Yeah, Maxi Challenge
we'll see. They semi-limited it.
Maxi Challenge was definitely something that, like, existed in a completely different era of Yu-Gi-Oh! And now we have a lot of players who are either coming back or just, like, have a mild osmosis to how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was played. They're like, oh, well, I'm supposed to, like balance the Maxi Challenge. No, at this point, Yu-Gi-Oh! You just don't. Like, stop. Because,
you
like,
have the out, or you pack it up, baby.
Yeah. Like,
set a couple pass.
At worst, make like make like generic link monster to end turn. Like, if you can do that, that's probably fine. Anything more than one is too much at this point. Yu-Gi-Oh! Maxi.
And so, like, I'll say that if Maxi exists, I don't disbelieve any arguments about Crossout Designator. Every motherfucker's playing the maximum copy of Maxis they can. You need every possible response, and that is just the way the game is played until Konami gets rid of Maxi in Master Duel and OCG. In the TCG, like I said, where we just talked about how the Mold Charmies are usually considered pretty balanced, I kind of see where he's coming from, especially because Crossout Designator is unlimited here. Personally, I also feel kind of philosophically that I don't like the idea of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card that there's truly no response to, like the alleged Spell Speed 4. So many people bitch about the fact that, like, Super Poly is a board breaker that's unrespondable already. Like, there's been calls to ban him like that in the past.
I have a question while we're vamping.
Sure.
Do you actually remember the card that sort of, because while the card have existed before this card, like Super Poly was a thing well before this, I actually do remember when people, like, invented the Spell Speed 4 designation.
No, I don't.
And it was for a shitty ass card that never ended up actually mattering, and everyone hyped the hell up.
Oh, great. Which one was it? Because I don't recall.
I thought. Hang on. Okay, no, it's not Spell Shattering Arrows. It's like some, like, retrain of this card, because it was in World Superstars, and it was like a kind of Spell Shattering Arrow, like,
I remember
retrain kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I can know of a card of that name. But like, I think generally people agree that, like, that's not a thing. So, like, I personally am a little philosophically opposed to the idea that, like, Yu-Gi-Oh is a game of interactions. I don't think there should be any form of interaction where you do something, your opponent doesn't get a chance to do something about it. Period. I understand that like hand traps are more valuable and stuff, and I want to say that like cross.
Maybe it wasn't World Superstars, but it was definitely in this frame. Was this was this the Star Seraph pack? No, it wasn't. Which one was the Star Seraph pack? That's what I'm looking for. Sorry, we're in full van mode waiting for Lost to get here, so we're just
doing Yu-Gi-Oh news.
But like I said, so I'm like personally, I'm not for the idea that like there can be no counterplay to hand traps, because I just don't like that's a lot of people have like memed the concept of the negative play experience, but I think that is a negative play experience of like, you know, what if I have a dog shit hand that doesn't play through hand traps? Because like, yes, my deck plays through hand traps. I'm in Master Duel. I'm playing Azamina White Forest Fiendsmith. I'm probably playing one of the best meta decks. Hey, let me tell you. Hi, my name's Omega. Sometimes I draw like shit. Not to mention it's Master Duel, so like I cannot tell you the amount of games I've played where I have gone first and drawn my going second hand, or I've gone second and drawn my going first hand. Like, shit sucks. So it really sucks to have like to open your grip and realize I'm holding one starter and 4 cards that are to prevent my opponent from starting if I was going second. And if my opponent responds to my one response this turn, I don't get to build a cool board going first, and I'm just going to get my clock cleaned, probably. Because, I will say this, Fuelos is super balanced. That fucker, every time I see him going first, I hate his guts. There's a card that I have not tributed off for Deception of the Sinful Spoils more. That weird little guy. Because he's useless if you control cards.
Now I feel like I'm tripping because I cannot...
I think, like I said, I don't remember what the card was called, but I think I remember vaguely the idea. There was a side set of like some kind of arrow type card that people insanely hyped up for no reason.
Yeah, like it was within this like 2015, 2016 frame of time that like it was right as I was like fully diving into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, and I remember everyone was like, "Oh, this card like this card's crazy. It's basically a whole new spell speed and stuff," and it was like fine. Like it didn't like outright flop, but it was just like nowhere near the level that people hyped it up as, which, you know, I mean, like, which is like tale as old as time. Like, remember when Magical Musketeers were the next Zodiac guys? Remember that?
Not even Zodiac's the next Zodiac. Speaking of which, by the way, the OCG list at the bottom there, you can see Barraged Unlimited. We'll see if that hits the TCG.
Yeah. Snatch Duel Unlimited is insane to see. Just having, again, to go back to that time frame, I I played Yu-Gi-Oh! In that one whack-ass format in like 2015, 16, where Konami said, Snatch Duel 1. Snatch Duel 1. Let's
and
just try
then
it.
I think 3 or 4 months
nope.
later, they were like, nope, actually, nope, never mind. We take it back.
It was at one for a single format. Banned, did not come back until like whenever it recently just like put the one in everyone.
24? Like, it was a recent list.
I have grown to see, honestly, semi-limit is not... It's not to affect how often you see it or take it out of rotation. It's more just to limit... To me, semi-limit just to limit how many times it could happen in a game.
I mean, true, but like the that's still just the nature of like semi-limiting a card. Like at this point, Yu-Gi-Oh, like majority of cards that are put to 2 are going to be either done as a stopgap to like slowly wean a card off the ban list, because to look here, Cyberjar, I don't think is ever going to really break Yu-Gi-Oh again. Like, of course, there will be like the one guy who makes an empty jar deck whose whole like
before they make legacy empty jar support.
I mean, they might, but we'll see. That's always a concern with like new cards can break old cards, but let's start talking about empty jar. Literally, Morphing Jar Unlimited, Cyber Jar from limited to semi. Like, that can't beat Malice or Ryziel. That probably can't beat Malice or Ryziel even with these limits, because we're putting Sword Ryziel to 1 and Malice Dormouse to 1.
Yeah, because
Both of your starters.
realistically, what Empty Jar does still let your opponent effectively draw their whole deck, so they're likely to get to like some form of interruption to stop your combo mid game, and then you're just sitting there with a bunch of disparate pieces while your opponent
not to mention like
beats you in the
Ash
face.
stops a lot of that stuff because you have to like draw cards or summon monsters. God help you, Droll and Lockbird just turns it off for the turn because you just.
God help you if you're still going up against that one guy playing tier and you're playing Empty Jar.
Ugh, yes, that too. That's another one. But yeah, so there's a lot out there. But yeah, to wrap up my thoughts, like I said on the hand trap thing, is like I get where Peace is coming from, but I'm also one of those people who's like I don't like the idea of a unrespondable card. I do think that like Crossout is a card that feels like it should be more interesting than it is because it's dependent on your deck list. The problem is that our current design of I don't know if Fiber Jar will ever be free, but that's just more of a time thing because it resets the game state. But
I can say from our experience with Fiber Jar in our progression format, GameStop stocks are way up, guys.
Yeah. Wow, what a throwback. But
yeah,
like,
that
like
was
I said,
that was a terrible game.
Crossout Designator, I think should be a more interesting card than it is because it requires you to have the exact copy of what you want to hit on your opponent, which means that it really only works against generic cards. The problem is that right now the way Yu-Gi-Oh is like your deck is like 1/3 unique engine that is like not interchangeable, 1/3 interchangeable engines like a Fiendsmith package or whatever, and then 1/3 non-engine, which is literally all the same for everybody because it feels like all the same. Like the complement of like whether or not you'll play like a anti-deck specific hand trap, like Lancia or something, will depend on your matchup. So that won't come in until the sideboard kind of thing, right? So
well, and the big thing about Crossout, like this one's a super unique case of a card that was overhyped and flopped in the West.
Yeah.
It flopped in the West because there's no Max C.
Yeah,
basically.
because there's no must
Like,
negate.
this-
And I don't know, like, because I know Peeps is hitting events and stuff. Like, I don't know if he still came up to this just because, like, he has been seeing, like, hand traps not resolve. Or maybe it's, like, blowback because, like, I will say, when he's tweeting, I think he's talking about TCG format, and I think that's clear to me as the reader. There may be some collateral damage from people who are talking about Master Duel format and applying it to TCG format. I do not think those formats overlap that way, but also I totally disagree with him once again in the Master Duel context. But again, that's because it's only ladder, it's only best of one. There's still 2 copies of Max C in the format. You can run 2 called by one Crossout. Like, the format is designed around a handful of must negate hand traps because the odds that you're gonna live past a turn 3 if you get Max Seed and have to set a bunch of cards are low. And like if it don't work, your opponent just scoops them up and goes next. Like it's you know a very different format from the TCG. But yeah, like I said, Crossout is something that I would hope is more interesting, but it really isn't. Called by is another one of those weird cards that like, yeah, it stops hand traps, but only some of them. Doesn't stop Imper. Doesn't stop Nibiru because Nibiru doesn't go to grave. You know, shit like that.
Yeah, like Called by is another one of like just the little suite of like graveyard interaction cards just have so much flip-floppy feasibility.
We in Prague when we got to Called by had it like limited in advance for a few formats because like everybody was holding on to Called by for hand traps, but because we weren't playing constructed, hand traps were just not so omnipresent that like you didn't also set some Called bys turn 1 and then use them as disruption, right? Like
yeah.
So Called by I think is another card that kind of like bounces up and down that unfun list, but you need a Called by-esque card in the format that maybe is a little better than just DD Crow. Like maybe we need to retrain DD Crow to be super DD Crow or something. Because like there's so much graveyard shit that if you can't do something about you can't do graveyard hate in certain context. It just sucks. Like that's the thing about Called by is like you're playing it because you need it.
What
probably.
about DDD Crow, and you make it so it banishes things face down.
That would be very funny. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, like there's
and I think that like there are tools like and I'll be honest, a lot of this was because I didn't have them because they're very expensive. I used to be a little bit of a hater on tactics, on the triple tactics cards. Thanks to some of those selection packs, I own 3 triple tac Talon and Master Duel. I think actually
they're
like
so useful. They're so useful.
Triple tactics is like a really interesting card, and I wish we had more like tactics.
Talons and Thrust are just
Thrust.
the series in general.
Yeah, just the series. Like I wish we had more of those cards because they are such a really interesting way to react to hand traps because they are a punishment, but they are not a negate punishment. Your hand trap's still resolved, but now I get to like try and rebuild my combo.
This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted to talk about with the triple tactics series because like they're crackback cards that aren't just no you didn't. It's a okay well you stopped my plan A, but my plan B will hit you even harder now.
Like, I have planned. I have foreseen this asshole.
Yeah.
With
and that's I think what Yu-Gi-Oh is all about. But the problem I will say about the current etymology of the 2 tactics is they only apply in main phase. So like obviously for stuff like Ash Blossom, Valor, that works. The other Ghost Girls, but like when you're talking about Mulcharmies and Max C, people just shotgun those and draw or standby, and you can't talents around them. So like it's another one of those things of like I see the vision, but it's concerning to me. Let me just real quick because Lost in the call, but I'm sure he's still eating. But I gotta run off and take a bio break. Let me shotgun the rest of this ban list real quick. So I mentioned this before, but oh, you're back. Good, you're in. Sorry, I shouldn't say you're back. You're fully in.
Oh my god, I just saw Monkey Board. Holy shit.
Yeah, so the OCG has finally stopped hating Pendulum, it looks like. Monkey Board Unlimited, Chronograph Unlimited, Masterpiece is Unlimited, which is not strictly a...
We get to see that when as soon as they publish at least more than 5 end cards a set.
But Snatch Steel's going unlimited. They're letting Fire King back out of jail because they've actually hit Snake Eye. They're putting Pearly back in. Like they had Sleepy at 1, now it's going to 2. We'll see if that actually matters.
I think that's fine. I think with the Pearly cards, like the strong ones should not be at 3 for the sake of the way the archetype works, but 2 I think is fine.
Yeah.
Because
and the other thing that's really interesting is, one, the OCG actually looks like it's winding down grass. Like, they're actually going grass from 2 to 1, which is really interesting, because I'm not sure what prompted them to go that route. And the other thing is, they previously had D-Shifter at 2. They're putting D-Shifter to 1. I think everybody would appreciate if the next TCG ban list just skipped the semi-limited step and went to D-Shifter to 1 at least, if not outright banned.
I wouldn't mind that.
Shifter's an annoying card. I played it a little when I played Tenpai in Master Duel, and Master Duel had it like at 2 for a while, and I think they even went to 1 at some point. Tenpai is not the optimal place to play Shifter because your deck is much better if you can Reborn from Graveyard, but it really did fuck over a lot of decks, so I still tried it out. It's a weird one, but I think in general the way the game is going, we're reaching a point where like decks that play under D-Shifter usually that means they plus. So I think the OCG may be sending D-Shifter, or the TCG may be sending D-Shifter to jail soon. I'm very curious what they're going to do about Lancia as well, because like Malice can kind of play through Lancia, but it's also like a really targeted hate card against exactly one of the good decks. So we'll see, but the OCG didn't do anything about Artifact Lancia, I don't think. Other than that, yeah, fucking summon limit. Send him to jail. Skill drain, jail. What are other continuous flip up floodgates we hate? I think the joke of playing, you can play one each of like Rivalry, Gozen, and Teekboo. One each of those. That's cute to me. That you have to like pick and choose your floodgates. But also, if they all went to jail, I don't think like the game would die. Like I feel like a lot of people who end up playing like Stun, either because they think it's their only recourse or just because They like to be annoying. They say that like, oh, you need huge floodgates to like control the game, and I'm like, nah, fuck them. Prison. We can do other things to make the game playable.
When I first started playing competitive, it was Necros format, so I'm like, well, I can't afford that. I'm a high schooler, so I played Yosenju Stun because I could afford like a $50 deck. And
yeah, because you were broke, and like that's I understand. If you're broke, you're broke. You gotta the rules when you're broke are different from the rules when you're rich, which is also literally true in our real life, but not in the way that I'd like.
I can't. I really can't.
The power imbalance flows the other way.
I should stop myself from saying any of the specific feelings I have on that.
Well, you know, rise up, firebomb a Tesla dealership in Minecraft. Dear Federal Bureau of Investigation, this is not a threat. I don't even know where Tesla. Can you?
In Minecraft, I think the more rich and white you are, the more penalized you should be for living.
But anyway, the ban list is funny.
Minecraft.
I'm gonna. That's how you know it's not real in game. I'm gonna leave you guys with the super quant stuff on screen for a second, because like I said, I gotta go run off and take a bio break. But that's another thing that happened over the past couple of weeks we haven't got into, and I'm sure we got a lot of yelling that exactly these three people would want to do about this. Why?
Really dumb for just not getting some of the reference to the super quant cards, honestly, because it's like I get it. It's like it's meant to be. It's like the Dark Ranger and so on, but it's like I don't. Hello.
The new Quantal stuff is really neat. I do love just the full send on. It's the Green Ranger. It's U Ranger. It's Mighty Morphin. We're just doing the White Layers Tommy / or Green Ranger, because he the White Ranger is the difference, but either way. But
yeah, it's the extra.
Yeah, the extra Ranger.
It's the extra because like the white is the sixth, and the sixth has like the air quotes sixth in this position.
Well, you know, like the extra Ranger in Sentai as a trope is you've either got a main crew of 5 or 3, then you have your extra Rangers, because like Ninja Storm plus Hurricaneer started 3, slotted in 2, then we had the 6th, then we had the 6th Ranger, but also like meh semantics. What matters is you have the main crew, and the extra Ranger comes in later, which honestly is a crazy. Tommy was Fenrir the whole time.
Honestly, I think about it like it's a zombie card, because I remember that zombie means yokai in the OCG. Zombie is yokai, so because of that, it's like, oh, okay, so it's literally meant to be a malevolent. It's the malevolent fairy to the normal, the actual other thing that's a fairy, which is an angel, whatever. I think they word it more of like benevolent spirit, malevolent spirit kind of thing.
Yeah, because I'm not as familiar with actual Jew Ranger as I should be. I've got like a huge collection of Sentai that I just like never actually got around to watching.
That's fair. I have a lot of stuff I need to get to too, but honestly, how I look at it is I still think Super Quant is meant to be more of like a overall just homage to most Sentai in general.
I mean, yeah, like it's not trying to out like the as a whole Super Quant as like a theme is not meant to represent a specific series. It's just a proper homage, but also like if I remember right, one of the card names is outright a reference to the episode where Drago Ranger shows up in Jew Ranger, if I'm remembering correctly.
I wouldn't know, unfortunately.
I mean, also, if you really wanted to go with dumb references, you have Alphon, and then you have Zaton, so literally A to Z.
Yeah.
True.
All right, I'm back. I see chat has been having a fun time while I've been gone. But yes, new quants. Sorry, it took me a second to remember how to say this archetype name. Because Zaytan is Quantal Fairy, but the Ranger is Quantum. But yeah, they had a couple. I'm not as familiar with the classic like actual Sentai series to know that if what specific references is up there. I know Ax was talking about it a little as I left.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the quick play spell is a direct reference to the episode because episode 19 is where Dragon Ranger shows up. Is why it has 19 in the title of the spell.
Yeah, that I kind of
was
figured.
remembering. But yeah, good. As we were kind of talking about it, like Super Quant as a whole does not have any direct, like, oh, it's this series it's referencing. We're just kind of going 3 Rangers who kind of have like vaguely different looks, separate from each other, but still loosely connected. Just with the style
to like very different series and seasons of Tokusatsu.
Yeah, that's what I was to say. I feel like they're like Quants are almost like the platonic ideal of a Sentai series because MBT when he talked about the new cards actually brought this up. Something that I didn't remember at the top, but I was reminded is that like all of the actual Quantum Rangers are the Super Quantums are different types because like one's a spellcaster, one's a psychic, and I think Red's just a warrior.
Yes.
I don't remember what White is. Is he a
White? I think White's a fairy because like everyone kind of thought the idea was that Alphen becomes White Layer.
I think that is the point.
Which
is like Zeton becomes Black Layer,
which is another trope within within some Sentai of like the mascot character becomes a ranger.
Yeah, and then obviously like the new one, Black. Quantum Black is a zombie because he is the Dark Ranger and is probably a dead guy brought back to life. Why does he look like Keshira?
I was more taking it as because zombie means because in OCG zombie is yokai.
No, the zombie type and zombie predates the yokai thing.
Yeah,
that's just how the paper game chose to translate the GX manga, but that was years after the game was flowing.
The yokai thing in the GX manga was just. No, like the Bastion's deck is like a yokai deck, and because it's not like it wasn't the actual card game, they just called them yokais. And
now,
weird.
if they ever wanted to make Zombie 2, that could be yokai.
It would be yokai.
That's probably what they would do, and they would retrain a few monsters. But yeah, so
gotcha.
We have a couple here, so like you said, it seems like it's a little bit of a like expanded effect because it's got out there. But some people are like, oh, well then where is the black mech? And I'm like, I saw some people also talk about it. I'm like, I don't actually know if there is going to be a quote unquote Black Ranger mecha.
Look, the problem, level 7. He is very clearly the evil analog to Alphen. It could even be that like Zayton and Alphen are the same thing, and the idea is that he's the evil ranger because there had been to nerd a little bit. Nerd explain. Before Jew Rangers / Mighty Morphin, extra rangers had kind of been a thing. They had existed in a loose idea, but they had never become like it was Jew Ranger that made it a consistent like trope.
Okay,
and
so
it started out with
the sixth man rule.
Yeah, it started out with him being an evil ranger, who was controlled by the evil Bandora / Rita Repulsa, and
hence why they had the footage for Mighty Morphin, Green started the same way.
Yeah, like I mean, like you can even go back to I think like the second series of Super Sentai technically has an extra ranger, but he's part of the series from the get-go, so he doesn't like really break the mold. Like it doesn't really set the mold
and
of like an extra ranger.
The funny thing about like later series is that like I know this a little from the Power Rangers crossover, but like there are some Tokusatsu series and some Sentai series where they start with a core trio and then expand to 5 to make the 5-man group. And
sometimes you have an insane series like Kyoto Ranger, where they have a main 5 and they just keep adding and keep adding.
I love that because
by the end we have like 13 Rangers, even though the joke is that it's a 9 Ranger team.
The bit of that is that because one is their commanding officer is also a ranger at a point, and they also have literally a repetitive red who outranks the original red, and then they do a slot machine. They do like a bingo machine to determine who goes out on missions.
It's silly. It's silly.
That was somebody in the writers' room was like, okay, hold on, I've got a bit. I've got an idea for the season.
That bit is
How far can I take this joke?
The main red, his name is Lucky, so he always wins.
Yeah, I'm going to put the full Q Ranger team in trad games. I don't care if it's out of context. Look
for it. Kill him.
Look at this, like just. I mean, honestly, impressive that they managed to have this many like unique colors.
They also, I love it. They've got all the possible colors. Like
and
you've got
silver,
a
blue,
red, a blue, green.
Orange,
there's a cyan blue who sometimes is just blue. There's black.
The cyan's actually 2 guys.
Yeah, he's a child who can also get big. But
we've got yellow, and we got a pink, and then we're like, also, fuck you. We got a purple, we got a gold and a silver, we got an orange. You almost never see the orange guy.
There's the red, and then there's black red.
Yeah, and we have a second red who I think he's the
Phoenix Buster.
Phoenix, so he's crimson or something.
I mean, but no,
it wouldn't be the first time they've had a second Red Ranger. Here's the new Quantum Ranger.
This is
Quantum
great,
Ranger's so cool though. He's big.
But yeah, so like on the one hand, that does mean that if you are a fan of Super Quants, they can continue to expand the roster beyond 5 guys. Like that's especially because one of those guys is evil.
Also, just for the one person who wouldn't know, the Quantum Ranger is also Virgil. He's based.
Like literally, just go watch the Quantum Ranger trailer and you'll understand it.
Yeah, no, like in the Power Rangers fighting game, they made
awesome.
They made the Quantum Ranger just Virgil. It's great.
Yeah,
well,
I didn't know that until I think it was last week's 14 stream where we started talking about that just offhand.
Mm-hmm.
I shared the trailer because it's like I still love that fucking trailer.
No, it's great.
It's so good.
But bringing it up, it was funny.
So there is room in Super Quants for them to do extra stuff and like add more things. I don't actually know if they're doing this like specifically referencing that season, if there will be a black mech that corresponds to Black Lair.
Honestly, I would prefer go off.
Go on off.
I'd be more upset if they set it up so it looks like the effects would bring out a black mech, but it doesn't show up.
I don't think they outright set up another mech. It's just it's just some extra extension for your deck. And so let's break down Zayden.
Yeah,
I honestly would like. I would honestly like a new a new like mecha configuration together, but like with some darkness to it or something, like a dark configuration instead of just there being a whole new mech.
Madness.
King of the computer.
Especially since the Link 3 as like their alternate mech is like so non-essential these days. Like obviously that guy needed to exist during MR4 because your deck requires you to get out at least a couple of Xyzs to work properly. But it's one of those things of like it feels so non-essential. So another Magnus would not be the worst. But yeah, let's actually run through the monsters. So Zaytan is a dark zombie level 1/0/0. Being a dark zombie means that there's a lot of other like weird engine interactions you can probably do with him. If this card's in your hand and you control a super quant other than Zaydan, you can special him and make its level become the level of 1 super quant you control. So he is automatically a 1-card Xyz of any type you want, which is great. That's actually something that, because the deck is built around those funny like level interactions, right? That's good. The second, you contribute this card, send a super quant from your deck to the graveyard except a dark. So that's any of the ones who aren't Zaytan or Black Lair. Special summon a super quant from your deck. So you can bin anybody you want that's not Zaytan or Black Lair, and then summon anybody else except Zaytan. So
it's basically just a better version of Alphen where sorry, it's objectively a better version of Alphen where you don't have the random chance aspect. The downside is you don't get like to send the other two, but I mean you get the one you want, which is what matters most of the time, and you're starting your combo.
And honestly, if that just means that effectively you have 6 copies of Alfan and or Zaytan rather Alfan counts as your 4th through 6th copies of Zaytan, however you want to look at it, that's probably not going to hurt the deck.
His first effect is also a massive upgrade over his other effect, because the other effect of Alfan you never use because he has to stay on the board, where Alfan will make your entire board a level of your choice. Yeah. But he has to be on the board, and you have to have other quantums already out. Yeah. Whereas this one is just, you got the quantum, this guy comes out.
Yeah. And then we have the new actual black layer. Let me make sure he's framed up. A level 7 Dark Zombie, 24/24. You can use each of its effects once per turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you have a quick effect. Discard a card if you do special summon this, or discard one other card if you do special summon this from your hand. So it gets you graveyard set up and lets you get a guy on board. And this is just in general, this one effect is pretty good. This is some Havness ass type stuff, like true turn 0 plays. So if you are going second, you can start getting your board set up anyway. And also, if your opponent, I don't know, hand traps your Zaytan or Alfan play, you get to go, yes, interesting. Anyway, Black Lair, it gives you
this guy just
flexibility, which is great, with just one effect.
This gives Super Quant a much needed opponent turn, or even like opponent and your turn just like we were talking about with a triple tactics. This is basically a triple tactics style effect within Super Quant, where you've activated an effect. Well, now I will get more combo ability off of that.
Especially because the second effect is, if this card's special summoned, you can special summon a Super Quantal Mecha Beast Xyz monster from your extra deck using this card you control as material. This is treated as an Xyz summon. And if you do, attach a Super Quant from your graveyard as additional material. So, this means that you can now, turn 0, if your opponent activates an effect, you can set up any of the Super Quant Xyz. And if you have the correct color in your hand, you can apply their quick effect. So if you, for instance, want to get out, blue, which I believe is blue Spell Traps, or is blue the Book of Moon? No, green I think is the Book of Moon.
Blue's Book of blue Spell Trap, green's Book of Moon, red is Monster Pop, I believe.
Yeah. So basically, if your opponent is doing some setup, you go, yes, interesting. You've activated a monster effect. Cool. I will, for example, discard blue layer, summon black layer, and then if I want, I can overlay instantly into the blue mech and stick blue layer under it, so it's a quick.
And the white mech is a spot negate.
Okay. So that's really flexible, because that if you still require to have drawn the correct guys, or ideally if you're summoning black layer on your turn, if it's turn 1 and you're using him to set up your combos, you'll have done something I don't know, summon Zaytan bin a guy, special summon black layer on special summon, overlays into a guy and takes the guy you sent from deck to graveyard and sticks him under.
Just double check Magna Liger to make sure I'm not crazy.
Yeah, just all kinds of
combos. That's what I thought. It's Monster Pop. I was just making sure, because I said that and I just started doubting myself.
And honestly, all 4 of those are good effects to have. So yeah,
all for Super Quant gets clowned on just for its your game plan just to summon Great Magnus. I mean,
guess what? With Super Quantum Black Layer, now your game plan is not necessarily just Magnus. It's also, hey, if I'm going second, I get to make a very funny, interesting, haha form of interruption in the middle of your combo that you might not like. You might not like a turn 0 Book of Moon, or Spell Trap Pop, or Monster Pop, or Negate, depending on what I got in my hand.
Yeah, and we've seen, for example, within our old Prog series, all of the quantum Xyzs are fairly solid little just little chump blocker, like just power plays.
Generics is like we played so many of those guys in just random rank decks because we could and didn't even need the quick effect.
If you were playing 3s, 4s, or 5s, you just played you played the corresponding mech because it was just a good generic piece. And I mean, every deck, every 3 deck plays out. Every 3 deck still plays the blue deck to this day. I think at this point because it's just that good.
Because rank 3s are not that powerful, and just having an MST is good. Spot removal is important, kids. And its third effect is if this card's sent to the graveyard, period, add a super quant spell from your deck to your hand. So,
which is just good. Get your field spell. You can't get the shit super sword, but you can get the new spell that I haven't read. But
so
I feel like there's one more.
We'll talk about that. Let me make sure that's framed. Yes, that's on screen correctly. So the quick play they added is Dai 19 Leia Shurai Kancho Shikoko no Choryushi. Layer 19, preventing the invasion, the pitch black super quantum.
But you know how they would describe their episodes.
And it appears to show red layer about to get his ass beat, but is protected by white layer from black layer. With a big triangle shield.
Oh! The episode 19 is actually when Drago Ranger he just kind of becomes his own like a third party.
It's where he's just on the clock kind of thing.
So this is a quick play spell which is searchable with a new black layer effect, which says activate one of the following effects, but you can only use each effect once per turn. Target an attack position, change it to defense position, just econ. If you control a super quant, special summon a super quant from your deck in defense with a different attribute than the monsters you control. So just summon from deck any asshole you don't have already.
Grab the one you don't have, and also just set that shitty trap card.
Set
but
a
now
super quant trap from your deck.
activated.
It can be activated this turn. A lot of people want to say because this is just like 3 cards, and this isn't a core set. This is in Duelist Advance. There's probably at least one more card coming there, so there may be a new good super quant trap.
Yeah, because I'm double checking the 2. All right, I forgot about Alpha Call. That's a good spell. That's another good spell you can add off of that. But yeah, like you in the trap card, you've got Magna Liger, or the Magna Slayer, which is just it's your funny like wombo combo big super end move. It's a cool trapping idea, but it sucks.
It's one of those things that I could see with the ability to quick play, set it, and activate it this turn.
Yeah.
With the layer 19,
it might be a very
play it as a funny one of.
Yeah.
Just because it is the kind of thing that is going to be a little blowouty. But like I said, I also personally concur. This is just 3 legacy support cards. They're hiding a trap card that is good. They're going to show us a trap card that's good later.
And the other trap card is just, during your main phase 1, it's the continuous trap. A target with super quant attach another. Okay, yeah, like the other one is just like material manipulation, which is not bad, but it's not critical. No. It's not critical to game plan.
I don't know what their critical trap card would be, but there's room for it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, there's something they could do. And there could be another mech. Like, personally, I would prefer if they maybe, I don't know how good, like, main deck space is, but, like, I think it would be funny if they could, like, add some more guys for some funny colors. Like, let's see, actually, are they just missing an Earth guy? Because they've got fire, wind, it's red, green, and
water,
blue.
Light,
and then white is light, and this guy's dark. So yeah, they don't have an Earth guy.
Earth.
So you know,
Earth
if you wanted
a
like
layer?
level 6, who was like the yellow or gold layer maybe, and is the Earth one, make him a Beast Warrior, make him animal themed for funny, you know?
I mean, yeah, like an Earth Beast Warrior, like even Earth Rock, who cares?
Yeah,
like
could be anything.
Typings don't really matter for these guys.
It's you know, funnier that they're overlap, but they are different, you know, so you could do anything. and that could be a source of another mech, and it doesn't matter that the ranks are wrong. The only reason why I don't say, add a level 2 rank 2 mech is just because the 2 pool is a little weird because of Sprite. Somebody might try and make that a thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, look, we saw before where Monarchs just threw blue and red layer into their deck and made a really powerful just resource engine for Monarch just by the fact that red layer was a Cyber Dragon.
Right? If you could run Monarch Super Quant, anything to discourage people from going no extra deck Monarch with the new support, because they did show that a couple of weeks ago as well. They're adding new Monarchs to Duad.
Oh boy.
Like anything to keep it from playing no extra deck Monarch, like that, because that is like, especially with like 3 Masterpiece back at 3 in the OCG. That sounds really annoying. But I'd love to see a little expansion. But yeah, I don't know for sure if they're gonna do a blackout mech.
It may happen. I think it would be really cool to kind of like take the, if we do big dark layer, like, because like spell kind of shows like I'm saying dark layer.
I mean, not that they need to do that, but they could do that in the TCG because it'd be funnier.
But yeah, like you've got you've got 4 Rangers now with black layers, so making the level 6 like a yellow layer or whatnot would round out the team of sorts.
Yeah. And like, if you could always do weirder shit, like much like the Alphans and the Zate. Like you could get your. I actually don't know, because I haven't really watched a lot of the actual Sentai. I don't know how common the Japanese equivalent of a like Zoltar type like mentor figure is.
Oh well, very important. Like we even mentioned, the Purple Ranger, or I think he's Violet. Or just fucking they want to be extra. The Purple Ranger and Q Ranger is their mentor, and he's like a giant dragon guy. Another big one.
Decent enough.
Another big one is SPD / Deca Ranger. You've got the dog mentor who becomes the Anubis Ranger.
Yeah, and I still can't think about that without thinking about the fact that he's got a dog head in normal mode, and then he's got a normal Ranger helmet when he Rangers. So what happened to his nose? Is he squished in there?
Well,
it does show in it does show in the transformation. His head just gets squished into the helmet.
Oh no, poor man. If I remember right, at least in the Power Rangers version, he's pretty cool. Like he's a not an asshole character. He's a good boss.
I think the really funny part of they're still the exact same character, but they very much like made a slightly different costume so they could use like their own footage.
I think the Power Rangers costume looks better.
Yeah,
but yeah, like,
I agree. Let me here's the first one's SPD, the second one's the Toku series. You can really see like the difference of like they're the same character, just a different costume.
As you can see, I think one of the costumes like looks better, even though maybe it's cheaper.
I think they integrated some stuff better. So we've been going for let me double check the old.
We've been going a while.
About an hour, yeah. That's okay. No offense meant to Loth, but the winners, the little fortune fairies and ladies, not a lot of them. Speaking about archetypes that like where could we go from here? That's another archetype where, funnily enough, they're themed around different levels and especially attributes. And they've already got all the 6 core attributes, so Konami just is lazy. I'll say it. I'll call him. Konami, dear Konami, love you to death. Great stuff. Send me some boxes, whatever. But your team, when you're like, oh, we've got one guy of every attribute, and you stop, that's being lazy. You got to keep doing stuff.
Well, no, we have one of every attribute, and they're all different levels. So look, that's like Super Quants. We finished them.
but it's definitely one of those things
They
of like
don't add any more. Really.
That means that the deck is very compact, and what I want to say especially, because they did go back and do a little bit of legacy support specifically for Fortune Lady, because the ladies were actually around longer.
The Fortune ladies were actually good. No offense to Fortune fairies.
Well, that also true. Like actually, I can tell this right now. I was going to save it for a little bit later, but we will start with the fairies, even though they got printed later, because in 5Ds that was what Carly actually used first, and then they became the ladies when she, got dark and fucked up.
Because she got evil, they got hot.
The original Fortune fairies, like in the like 5Ds video games and stuff, were vanillas with different flavor text that was literally a fortune telling gimmick.
Yeah, because within the series, like she had like one duel before she became evil, but she used them as like actual basically tarot cards. Yeah. And like they never really did anything because like.
So yeah,
they were her luck. They were just for
the Fortune fairies had to have their effects basically created whole cloth for the game, and they're based around the gimmick of I'll spoil it right now, chat. The way Fortune fairies work in paper is, you can, if they are drawn or when they're drawn, not even if, oof, that's probably a bad sign. But when they are drawn, you can reveal them and then special summon them from your hand. So they have an effect where you show them to your opponent for the fortune. The ladies have always, I think, had a strong potential as a draw engine because they're spellcasters with a bunch of different attributes that do very interesting things. They're not really good right now, but they kind of tried to give them an end board play with like they finally gave them a synchro every and a tuner in past.
Yeah, and it's one of those like.
Good.
Let me get one of them. I do always remember like Fortune ladies like was always like, oh, like there's one or two of these that are super good. I'm trying to like because like there's one that
water. I think is the one you see tacked into a lot of shit.
Yeah,
because she's
it's
the
water because like when you summon you draw two and like people have been trying to break Fortune Lady water since her release. Like she's always just one of those cards.
The best way that I think to describe Fortune Lady Water, if people know, is she's basically the prototype for Blue Boy.
Yeah.
For the spellbook combo where you draw a bunch of cards. But like honestly, I think the way they've got the fairies, I don't think Fortune fairies necessarily need to stand out on their own as a deck. It would be better if they were a more supplementary engine for the Fortune ladies to kind of bridge back and forth better. And they kind of are, but I don't think they're good enough to actually work it. But I wouldn't mind them actually trying to make it work. And like I said, Konami about calling Konami lazy. Hey, it doesn't have any synergy because it's a fiend, but we'll show him later just for the artwork. But when they did the Red Dragon Archfiend structure deck, they added Vision Resonator. He's got a Fortune Lady eyeball on his chest. Like, they're not afraid to make these references, and if they can make up new Red Dragon Archfiend dragons, you could give Fortune Ladies or Fortune Fairies a little extra spice. Konami, you could round them out a little.
Oh, that would be nice.
And like, honestly, again, if you want to do funny overlap, like, we talked about, last week we talked about the Synchron structure deck, so we talked about Synchrons into Stardust, so I talked about, like, the Stardust Synchron and Stardust Trail Wombo combo, right? Stardust Trail's just a dragon woman. You could just, redo the vibe so that you could play like an RDA package in Fortune, maybe, or come up with some other tricks. There's stuff there.
Yeah.
Our first monster card I pulled up though is Fortune Fairy on. Go ahead, Love.
Do something like have Malefic Territory, which is here's a spell card that comes out and just increases the way the deck works for the fairy specifically. Like,
yeah, and actually that's another thing I will say. The deck really needs a proper searcher. They have a fairly cohesive linked number of spell cards, which revolve around them, but a lot of them don't have like archetype overlap. They need a card that searches. I would say probably cards that mention Fortune Lady, if you don't want to just say Fortune spell traps. But that means that they're quote unquote archetype field spell like it's good. Future Visions is good for them, but it doesn't like explicitly name them. So again, maybe a new field spell, especially because I assume if she was, I don't remember which one it was, but I assume if Carly became a Dark Signer, she had a Earthbound Immortal, right?
Let me check. I don't remember what her Earthbound Immortal was.
She did get one.
Yeah, I'm like there should be one
I think
to
it was the
Carmine, Earthbound. She was Asclepiscu.
Okay.
This is the anime one, so it's fake. What's the actual effect? This leaves the field back. Oh, this one like can pop off. Like when this card attack directly, this card leaves the field except by its own effect. Destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible, and burn for 800 for each monster destroyed.
Yeah, Asclepiscu has set up some
nasty burn shenanigans.
Some plays. So I think there's, again, we want to be careful about FTKs, but I think there's some room there that like you could find out a way to integrate. Again, Konami will do the wackest shit to set up dumb anime combos in paper, right? We literally talked about the Odeon cards where like one of their core plays is to fucking banish Ra so you can search back Ra and summon him for a turn before you die or something. Like, you can find a way to bridge Asclepiscu into an actual Fortune Lady deck and like give them maybe a new field spell that does something directly. But for now, we're going to talk about the fairies.
Are we going to showcase the fairies and ladies side by side?
I'm probably,
might be quicker that way?
Well, I'll do that when we get to the ladies. The fairies have effects, so I don't want to like cross contaminate people's brains or my brain.
Okay,
describe their effects, both effects at the same time. But we'll
fair
probably pull them
enough,
back up when we pull up the ladies, just so you can compare. So aesthetically, I want to say the Fortune ladies, the wiki talks about making a comparison to the way some of their names are given to like Cardcaptor Sakura, and in general, the Fortune ladies are kind of like tall and noodly. They do actually look a little bit like Clamp's art style. I do not know if the Fortune fairies have more of a explicit like comparison.
You know what? Let me see.
Like aesthetically, their name in Japanese is Uranai Majo, so they are more. They're not actually fairies. They're supposed to be.
This archetype's cartoony aesthetic is very similar to that of the 1909 magical girl anime Oja Majo Doremi. Oh, I have seen this before.
I literally opened it up, yes. And the name is kind of not exactly, but is a little similar because it's like Oja Majo and they're like Uranai Majo.
Uranai Majo.
Like, you got some similar vowels in there. So
okay. It was just magical Doremi in English for people who may recall that.
They're called fairies in English because they are super chibi, I assume, but they are spellcasters. Both archetypes are spellcasters, and they should be fortune-telling witch in.
Actually,
literature.
Really hilarious that apparently it was also on 4Kids. So you at a point you might have actually have seen Magical Doremi side by side with 5Ds and seeing the Fortune Fairies and Doremi at the same time.
That's interesting, yeah. So the way they worked is basically, we're going slightly out of order here because they're supposed to be like ascending and descending. The way the Fortune works is the lowest level Light, who is Hikari. All of their names are named after the attribute, basically.
It's just, except for Hikari, it's just the first character of the attribute they represent.
Yeah. So we've pulled up On, who's spelled with 2 N's, but is On as in dark. But basically the way it works is the higher the level, the worse your fortune is. So Light is supposed to be super happy, and then Chi, the Earth one, the 6, is supposed to be absolutely awful, the worst. But it's a little chaotic, so they don't really I don't think the effects line up as well with that in real life, which is again funny because let me double check when these are printed. Yeah, so these are all from 2019. 2019 was when Konami decided, that's when they printed the new Fortune Lady supports, like I mentioned, Every and stuff, and when they finally printed the fairies. So these are like Link era, and even probably Konami understands that they're planning on changing by this point. By mid-2019, they have to be working on the Master Rule revisions, right? Like, they got to know what we call MR5 is going to be looking like eventually.
Yeah.
So, like, this is a very modern deck, and then you got effects like, to explain on really quick, she's a Dark Spellcaster 5. They're all 0. All the Fortune Fairies are 0/0. When you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand. If this card's special summoned from the hand, banish a spellcaster from your deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. That's nothing. That's I mean, that's plus, but, like, that's incredibly basic.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when we talk about the ladies, you'll see how maybe that's supposed to be like a sub-engine in ladies, but the fairy effect is just kind of like, yeah.
It's one of those things that you think the fairies would be good support, but not really.
Yeah, like I said, I think they were trying to set them up to do that, but they did not as well. Things to keep an eye on, I think, with the Dark One's design, you know, obviously she's got her head wings, she's purple, but she's got a little, like, purple or black rose petal thing. The little, like, pull tabs on her cloak are kind of funny as well. The next one I've got alphabetically just to hit them is Chi, which is the Earth one, Fortune Fairy Chi. Once again, by the way, the names of these monsters are, like, turbo cutesy in the OCG. They are fortune-telling witch, and it's explicitly Chi is supposed to be Chi-chan. So it's Uranai Majo Chi-chan is her full name. Like, we are turbo cutesy.
Look at this nerd.
Yes, that's the nerd one. She's got
This one basically just is Carly too, which is funny
Yeah.
that she's the worst fortune.
It's
yeah.
It's Carly. I feel like if she was
double
younger,
double
because probably before her hair got
hair,
darker.
she's got the glass, the round glasses, which was part of the actual Carly character's design. And I want to say this. This is supposed to be the worst fortune, right? This is an Earth Spellcaster level 6, 0/0. When you draw this card, you can reveal it. You can special it from your hand. If this card's special from the hand, you can make each player draw one card. That's terrible for you.
Yep.
That doesn't do anything. So, like, yeah, that is... if we're correlating the levels to fortunes, the level 6 is the worst fortune for you, the Fortune Fairy player. Unless, I guess, you're trying to do, like, a fucking, like, Trickstar Reincarnation-ass droll lockout. But even then, you'd have to... It's only when you draw it and special summon it from hand, so it's... I don't know, man. It's a level 6. They're...
It's not great. It's just not good.
It was 2019. I talked about, like, Trickstar Reincarnation lockouts. That was, like, 2 or 3 years ago. Probably 2, because it would be 2017. I don't think you
I
were actually
didn't realize
reincarnation
the
in 16.
Fortune Fairies were that recently released, and they just went, we don't know.
Yeah, I now, like I said, they were vanillas before, basically. They didn't do anything even in the anime. So, like, they are making them whole cloth, but, like, these are not good makeups. Like I said, this is 2019. Like, within 6 months of these cards, fucking Eldritch and Adamanticators were coming out.
Yeah.
Konami, you could have cooked.
But they didn't.
And that's why I'm like, I challenge them to cook again. Anyway, next is N, the fire one. She's got kind of a torch in her stick, and she's got
It
kind of
just
like
betrayed it all.
she's got like a cute ponytail.
It's also really funny to look at these Fortune Fairies and Ladies and then just compare them to Charmers just visually.
Well, I mean, it is all the different attributes, so the art team probably keeps some of that in mind. N is the level 2. Her effect when special summon from the hand is target a set card your opponent controls, destroy it.
God, I know we're glossing over the looks, but they're so spindly. They're
Yeah.
like noodly.
Oh yeah, no, and like I said, that's why I'm like, even with the ladies themselves are also like super like tall and thin. I'm like, no, if you want to compare them to Clamp's art style, I'm not gonna say no. I watched
Yeah.
Code Geass. Those people were.
And stiff breeze could snap their bones if they have any.
And like the Fortune fairies being like the super chibified form is like, oh yeah, no. But like I said, N's effect is when she's summoned, she targets a set card your opponent controls, destroys it. Not terrible, but obviously like one of those cards of like, well, what do you do if like N is just in your hand? You got to come up with another way to special summon her.
Yeah. And luckily, there are some spell trap cards that do that, but at the same time, it's always just a, well, they're spell trap cards, but none of them are set. Shit.
Yeah, no. Hikari, who's supposed to be the best fortune. Hikari obviously meaning light. She's got a little sun rod and also got the icon in her back. Very shiny, very bright. This card's a secret rare in real life, so it'll blast you.
Becomes the best fortune lady.
Yeah, you want to talk about
At
trying
least
to
the
break
most
fortune
annoying.
ladies. Light is another one of those cards people have tried to break. So Hikari's the level 1.
It's the golden snitch.
Yeah. And I want to say this, like, once again, talk about Konami accidentally hobbling themselves. I get that they wanted to be careful about it, but, like, making it special summon from the hand only, that, like, sucks, because you can't even, like, 1-for-1 Hikari.
Yeah. Can't do shit.
Also, her effect kind of doesn't, like, have that synergy there, because Hikari's one of, like, again, talking about how this is supposed to be the best fortune, Hikari is very clearly supposed to, like, fork into the Fortune Ladies because her effect is, if summoned from the hand, target a monster you control, send it to graveyard if you do special summon one level 1 spellcaster from your deck. So I'm pretty sure this is supposed to go into Fortune Lady Light, who I believe starts as the one. So, like, cool. And obviously she can target herself, but, like, how am I going to... The whole point of me special summoning this card from hand is to send another card to graveyard so I can special summon another hard card. Why don't I just play that other card?
Yeah. The only, I guess, positive side is if you somehow already have Fortune Lady Light on field, and then you draw this card, because then, you know, you send away Fortune Lady Light and its effect activates.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? Yeah. If it gets bounced or moved somewhere, it does a thing.
The green one is Hu or Fu
Foo.
in
Who?
Japanese. I love this one for her smug expression.
Yeah, this is like the most personality of all the fortune fairies, because the rest of them are just your different flavor of just cutesy fairy, and this one is like sass. This one's got the little sass.
This one's the 3. Her effect when special summoned from the hand is target one of your banished spellcasters, add it to hand. Not a bad effect, but requires setup.
Yeah, like good effect. Just well, I mean, with
You know what they should do? It should have a little addendum or parenthetical that just says this counts as a draw.
Honestly,
that would make these.
That would
cards
be really
funny,
cool.
Yes.
But yeah, like within the within the theme of the Fortune Fairy Lady, targeting a banished actually isn't that bad.
No, like it's definitely like I like I said before with like the ones that came before, On's effect and the others as well, is like I can see what they're trying to do, but these cards are a little too hobbled for 2019. Like I said, they have to be their effects only proc if they're specialed from the hand. And like I said, their reveal effects are a when, so depending on how you're drawing cards, I think that means they can miss timing.
Yeah,
Actually,
with the
I just realized. Remember how I made the mention of like Malefica Field or Territory?
Yeah.
Clearly, what they need to do is a Fortune Lady field spell, Fortune Fairy field spell, or continuous spell that just says anytime a Fortune Fairy is added to your hand, it's counted as a draw.
Turn them all into poplars.
No way.
It's great. Honestly, it wouldn't. That's one of those things that like that's
Oh
funny.
my god!
What's up?
Fortune Fairies missed time on fucking Upstart Goblin.
Oh, cause it's draw one, then your opponent gains 1k.
Yeah.
Like you brought up missed timing, and I'm like, there's no way Upstart. There's no way Upstart.
Okay,
missed
so
timing.
question: if they just got rid of how the when condition works, would
It'd be
it break
fine.
the game?
No.
it wouldn't
Honestly,
break
if
the
they
game,
just
it'll make them
deleted
better.
missing the timing, it probably wouldn't break the game. No. Because like it's usually the cards that miss the timing were not great anyway. Already, most of them.
Sorry.
Like your
This
main
Fortune Fairy is
offenders are
more
what?
hair than person.
I'm sorry, what you say, Loth?
This Fortune Fairy is more hair than fairy.
I mean,
Yeah, she's very
Yeah.
right. This is sweet.
yeah, I mean it's like your main two offenders, if we're counting this, are this and Yang Zing, and it's like, man, like just like your big win effects just never they just never feel good.
Yeah, missing the timing
I
is
mean-
talking about negative. I talked about negative play experiences earlier. Missing the timing is a negative play experience that just shouldn't exist. They could change it today by just saying when and if are interchangeable. They mean the same thing. Fuck you.
The worst part too is that there's no good way to explain the difference between if and when to a new player. It just sounds like you're trying to cheat.
Sorry, thank you, Red the Weed. She hides the draw too and all that hair.
Yeah. Well, sadly, this one's not. She doesn't have a draw two effect as a Fortune Fairy, but yes, this becomes the one that lets you draw two cards.
When she gets
Sui is the
puberty,
four.
then she learns how to be a pot of greed.
Yeah. And I will say, I think her effect is okay as well. If she special summon from the hand, target one other monster, face-up monster on the field, banish it until the standby of your next turn. So like,
oh yeah, I mean like
there's
that's a
room
good
there.
effect.
That's
That is a
yeah,
good
because
effect.
like that's a for the rest of the Fortune Fairy effect, Sui effect is remarkably open-ended because like if you control another Fortune lady, they probably want to be banished for some stuff. Like you can set up some plays there, but also banishing one of your opponent's monsters until the standby phase of your next turn is like part of why this deck was actually useful as a package because Future Vision is just the world's funniest floodgate. Like, it's the world's silliest version of lose one turn.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, no, Sui's effect being that in Microcosm is like, no, that's got plays. The problem is just, again, like we talked about, they miss timing, they have to be drawn, it only procs when specialed from hand.
Dude,
like,
I'm reading the spell support for Fortune Fairies. These are so bad.
yeah, we're
I'm
going
getting ahead of
there because
myself.
there's 3 of them, so we're gonna
I'm-
talk about them. Also,
Getting
I
ahead
think
of myself. I just like glanced at them. I'm like, oh, all of these are garbage.
the art is also, I think, very funny. We'll start with Lucky Lone.
This is just terrible. Like, this-
Which depicts Chi is giving on some help. And I know earlier we talked
This is
about
the
this.
world-
This is, I do want to say, art-wise, this is kind of like good alive Carly giving dead evil Carly when she became a Dark Signer some energy, right? Because like I think her
This
haircut
is-
as a Dark Signer is similar.
yeah, and this is just downbeat but worse. And
Anyway,
I think
yes, yeah,
downbeat
this
already
card is
existed
bad.
when they made this card.
So this is just called translated as Good Luck Loan. God, they made this an R in Master Duel. I can't believe you made this more than a normal. How dare you?
Why?
Target a Fortune Fairy you control. Special summon one spellcaster from your hand or deck whose level is 1 lower. During your next turn, if this card resolved, you can't normal or special except spellcasters. You can only activate 1 per turn.
It's downbeat. It's downbeat with the restriction.
A
Why?
cute trick to like let you get your Fortune Fairy on summon effects, but it's only 1 level lower. So that it is implying you've already special summoned a decently high level one.
Okay, I guess I'm slightly exaggerating because downbeat needs. No, wait, no. it has to be spellcaster, so it is type and attribute. Yeah, it's just
No, this is type locked, not attribute locked. But it's we made a shittier downbeat, like, because you can't. I guess it's because you can't play downbeat in this deck because they're all different attributes. Why.
Which okay, cool, but
God, you couldn't make it one level lower or one level higher. We were too concerned that like somebody might like summon Dark Magician off chi.
Don't worry, Zed. You missed talking about the ones that don't matter. You're fine.
Yeah. You've missed fairies. We will talk about ladies, which is actually a deck that does stuff. Like, I think there's something to be said for if you're playing certain eras of Time Wizard, you might actually be able to play a Fortune Lady deck. Fairies, I feel like Konami does actually do this where they've been getting pretty good over the past, I want to say, like 5 or 6 years of actually, like, printing archetypes from the anime and the manga that were just kind of forgot about. Not perfect yet still. There's still some room there for some extra stuff.
Yeah, the anime effect was just even more generic and still had the restriction. I'm like, okay, maybe at that point with the restriction, sure, but it's still not even like that. Yeah. Like, you still have to have a Fortune Fairy on the board is the problem.
Yes, and it has to be a level lower. So primarily what this is going to do is you normal summon, like, Sui, and you can special Fu, or you normal Hu and can special, like, N. Cool, great. That doesn't do anything. Like, we're doing the weirdest shit. Now, obviously, like I said, because of the way the bridge works, this means you can take a Fortune Fairy and, like, special a lady who's one level lower, but it's just exactly one level lower. So it, like, the spreadsheet, this forms a lot of spreadsheet options, but all of those options are dumb, basically. It's a card that gives you more plays, but the plays are stupid. They don't help you. You can play better generic cards.
Like what? You tribute the level 3 and summon Blue Boy, and then you just play a good deck. I guess
you just branch your combo into playing fucking spellbooks.
Yeah, like
probably better.
You lucky load Who into Blue Boy, and then you play a good deck.
You pull out of your pocket and Endymion, you put in your fucking.
you just cheat. You just transformative sideboard into Endymion in the middle of the match.
Yeah.
Well, hey, no. I know we said we weren't gonna talk about Master Duel Master Chef, but I mean you could always that's the sorry, I got a mulligan. I forgot to put the Exodia pieces in my deck.
Okay, so I apologize, but like I actually agree with everyone being like I'm sorry, Farfa, but you should be in 4th place now.
No,
stop talking about the prompts. You're not being funny.
I said when I posted a link to the latest episode of MasterChef, I was like, finally, the first good episode of MasterChef.
It is actually funny. Everyone
tries
tries something else.
That's not entirely true. A couple of the other ones were better, but I do kind of feel like, oddly enough, the arc around the couple of VTuber guest hosts they had was when the boys were actually the most insufferable. Double no offense.
I still think Ruxin is like
and Leah.
I still think Ruxin is like a very, very lame person, even though he's not like a shitty person.
I think we can all agree.
I mean, I think Ruxin is deliberately uncool on purpose, but
that definitely is the bit. Like,
but like I think he did the prompt very good because he was very specific. He was like, I want you to include 3 Petite Moths and 3 Millennium Shields, and I don't want to know hedging 3 and 3.
People should say that more. I want you to have this about at least.
I loved the bit where spoilers for MasterChef if you haven't seen it, but it's the judging doesn't actually matter. It's just a punchline. But literally, the editor doesn't include the point splash screen because mid-judging, Ruxin decides, no, you know what, Farfa? I said you were 3rd. No, fuck you. You're 4th, actually. Fuck you. You tributed him off. Die. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Ruxin.
He's leaning into the bit.
Yeah.
The best part, of course, is promoting the Petite Moth into the shield.
Oh, no, like,
that was insane.
I was a little worried with the direction of the show, and we'll see if it comes back to it, but, like, in the previous episode, that's when the Gage Snake Eye, like, that's a new copy pasta apparently fired up, and I'm like, okay, but I agree with like though that like Gage was like running a lot of meta engines, but it's okay because like he actually, again, in the new episode, he actually, like, cooked out of his mind. The fucking Reproducus promotion play is crazy.
Yeah, like in
nuts. I love it.
In a regular show, they would see Reproducus and they would be like, oh no. But it was a joke. And look, you can use the generic cards to do funny things. I feel that Farfa or all the boys have to learn this in some sense. But there's a difference of like playing like, oh, the Millennium Search Shield, and then playing a full Millennium deck. Very different.
No, like I wasn't sure I agreed with Ruxin, but thinking about it, I'm like, no, actually, Joseph just playing like Exodia, like Millennium Wedju deck to make the big Chungus is that is kind of weak.
I think the issue of it is more of we just need judges that are give better prompts.
Well, more specific
no offense,
prompts, I should say.
No
I think some of the prompts
Nova,
were good, but they were like
Leah Azovov's bit was just doing a bit, which fair.
I mean, like,
it's a weird ass card.
The idea of centering a deck around that card, I think, is cool. It's just it's the problem of giving them a prompt like that with little prep time.
The prompt was too loose, and that's why we got shit like including Snake Eyes and stuff. And then the thing at the end where like she decided to break it up by just like whoever had the most women in the deck was kind of like
actually that was inconsistent. That's not actually true. That was just a joke she was putting
I know, but like that's if that is kind of like we're gonna turn jokes into how we score the points. The points don't matter, but like the what I'm just saying is the bit could be set up better, I guess, is like if she's gonna trot that out as the bit, we should have like prepped that a little. I don't know. Like hard leg spoon thing was like funny, but I gotta rewatch how he actually judged that. But like
he was like, you got the joke of the spoons, and I'm like, that there was no setup for that joke in your
that's what I mean. Like
what was the joke?
Prompt though.
So the Metal Foes do have spoons in their artwork because they're psychics.
It wasn't spoons. It was like you got the joke of like, because you had spoons, you should play the Malice Vorus. That was what I wanted you to do. I'm like, you didn't.
He put that in the clip. So yeah.
No, what I mean is like there was no setup aside from the spoon joke, and I'm like, okay, how would people like? It just sounds like you're saying spoons is Metal Foes. It's a bad setup.
And some of that I think is just again like, I don't know what MBT's like content engine package is, because he's like streaming every day and also is trying to produce videos. Like, I think I did in the chat. I called him out. I think it's bullshit that like he says he doesn't want to make the judges feel compelled to watch the footage if they don't want to watch the VOD. By mentioning they can watch the VOD. I'm like, okay, well then, I don't know, buddy. Punch up on your judges, I guess. Make them more important than you so they feel they can tell you no. Like, they should watch the footage. Anyway, some of this I think has to do with just like the way the editing is set up. Because if you don't know about MasterChef, they mention this like off stream. The way the judge segments work is like, I believe MBT does ask his guest judges first what they would like for the prompt, and then he has them shoot the footage of them introing it. And then also usually in the same sitting, they are shooting the judging criteria. So like the prompt and the jokes in the prompt part of the video that are introduced to the audience are like pre-shot already, basically. Like the episode is probably over by the time we get there. So it's one of those things of like, the editing and structure could be a little better.
The way it works is just a situation of, okay, this is the prompt that said judge gives us. None of them see the actual like the video clip. The video clip is not shown to them. Neither is the judging. Like they don't know the judging until the episode comes out. Even like that's
and I think that maybe
that's why the drama starts coming out of the episode.
MBT like did actually have a video ahead of time, but I think that's mostly just the boys joking about it for a bit.
I think it also was just like the first episode where they planned it. Like it was probably like the pilot episode, like they had a video plan.
Yeah, but like it's despite the fact that like I think MBT is aiming for more of an improv comedy show, the drama comes from the fact that it feels a little bit more like reality TV, where like the narrative comes together in the edit.
If I can be real, the drama comes because, and this is not meant to neg Farfa. This is not meant to be rude to him, but it's extremely clear that Farfa does not understand that it's a comedy bit show, he sees that there are points to win, and his competitive brain turns on and goes, "Well, I need to score points. How do I score points?"
Yeah.
I guess the problem to me is like most people can't stop seeing Farfa as the guy that is like in charge of the gang of 12-year-olds with a fish brain.
Well, I do want to say this. Like, I'm not surprised that like the Justice for Farfa stuff came out to. I don't think Farfa actually tries to cultivate that kind of audience. I just think that he unfortunately has a built-in audience of, brain-dead youths who like are like, it's an anime woman. I will attack her because she is not.
It's an unfortunate fallout of him having built this community, both around Twitch streaming and the way that his content was in this Glasgow Yu-Gi-Oh era, and like in that transition to
Farfa. In case people don't know, Farfa's like a married man with a kid. Like, and when you see him like drop kayfabe, Farfa seems normal. Yeah. Like Farfa, I like Vesper said, I don't want to throw stones at Farfa. He seems like he's an okay guy. I just think that he's still got a little bit of his bit is built up about being a yelly streamer man. Like, honestly, all of them have that as a bit, except for Doug. Doug's bit is that he doesn't read. And unfortunately, it's true though. Like Doug.
Actually, Doug's bit is that he is the opposite of who he is in public.
Doug is a washed-out competitive player, and we love him for it.
He's also like extremely shy, and he's actually just super vicious in the Wonky Quartet. It just turns out in public he's completely just like quiet.
I think Doug is vicious just as a self-defense response because he's around Farfa and MBT, and their bit is to be vicious. Also, as an aside, I have a joke here that's a callback. We're doing literally anything to avoid talking about Miracle Stone. These cards are so bad.
All this card reads is draw one card, and it's shit.
I need to say this. This looks like the fucking title image. Looks the cover image of a fucking like Blu-ray. I think my mouth. For a Blu-ray set for an anime from like '92, I've never fucking heard of.
You're not wrong. That is a correct statement you've said.
We referenced this earlier, and I think it's just spot. Magical Doremi was 1993, so you were not even that far off the dot.
Yeah,
I wasn't referencing that, but I'm just saying for like in general.
Yeah, no, it is. It feels like that. But keep in mind, this card was printed physically, at least in 2019. I think it actually did it show up in the. Yeah, it wasn't the anime first.
If I was going. I have to say, if I was ever gonna make one of those like fucking live action Yu-Gi-Oh series that like some people do online, I would totally do a thing for a side character where they just open a fucking Blu-ray that has this as their the image of a Blu-ray case, and just cards get fucking splattered in their face.
Yeah, the anime version of this was both better and worse somehow. But yeah, like I said, to put a pin on MasterChef real quick. Like I said, I liked the last episode of the show. I think there were some content hiccups, and I do want to say I think that is like overall an MBT thing. Is MBT seems like he's the kind of guy who will just shotgun a show, and then kind of like adjust on the fly. I think like JJ was a little bit like that. Some of the other series he's done that have been shorter run have just kind of been like on the fly rules. And I think hopefully the show is going to find its stride and keep it that way. But there definitely were some hurdles that I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can watch any more of these. But the new one was good. What Miracle Stone here does, or Better Fortune Miracle Stone in the OCG is, first of all, you can only control one. Yeah, they had to put that restriction on this. All spellcasters you control gain 500 attack and defense for each Fortune Fairy you control with different names. The anime effect, I believe, was 1,000 for each Fortune Fairy, period. Do not know why they decided to nerf that. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving a Fortune Fairy, draw a card. So, cool. It's a once per turn draw card, so you can get your Fortune Fairy engine in. And again, you could hypothetically use this to synergize with the Fortune Ladies because they are spellcasters, but since it's only 500 for each Fortune Fairy, that's really annoying to pull off. So it's just not good. Not good enough. Definitely they could have unnerfed this card and made it flow better. Which means we have one more terrible, for now anyway, spell trap to talk about. And I think they're actually all spells, which is funny. But the last one is unacceptable result. Which is kind of weird that they call it unacceptable result, because it's like Hikari into N, which are the good fortunes.
It's weird.
I'm not quite sure why visually that ended up being the reference. But this is a quick play spell that just says, if you control a spellcaster monster, special a Fortune Fairy from your hand. This is a good card in Fortune Fairies, but the Fortune Fairies are terrible, so meh. Like, it's a quick play. That's good. It lets you activate their special summon from hand effects on your opponent's turn or on your turn. But it's just one of those things of like, well, that means you're... It's the pet deck tax. Yes, this is a good deck if you're playing Fortune Fairies, but then you're playing Fortune Fairies, chat. It's not great. It could be better. So yeah, I don't really know, like, again, what I'm supposed to interpret from this.
I think the idea is just that. I'm just getting context clues from the name. It's like, oh, we got a bad fortune. Like, give me, like, just re-roll the fortune. Yes.
And I think it does kind of work like that, but again, it's one of those moments of like, God, it's like I said, it's a good card in Fortune Fairy because it's just, hey, any spellcaster can chain into actually getting your Fortune Fairy effect on, and it's a quick play, so it's both turns are valid. It's good going first or second kind of a thing, but again, that means you're playing Fortune Fairies. So that means it's time to talk about the ladies, who were printed much earlier and are generally a deck that has a strategy that's much more cohesive. They did an interesting thing with the names of the ladies, because in Japanese, their names are similar to the way, again, they talk about things from Cardcaptor Sakura, and they've even talked about how, like, some of the art designs might look like Magic Knight Rayearth and stuff like that, but the names of the Fortune ladies are, like, darky, windy, lighty, etc. They drop the Y in English.
Yeah.
Also, let me double check the gallery. These are technically a batch of cards which are censored. Yes, okay, so they do have the uncensored Master Duel art. They're censored stupidly, though, because, like, at least some of them aren't really showing anything, like, incriminating. It's just they're wearing, like, artistic leotards, so there's, like, some thigh and hip and stuff. There may be some underboob in some of them, but in general, they are not.
I'm looking on the Master Duel things, and I'm like, I guess, like, you could argue on Fire. There's like, oh, the leotard shows like neck, so there might be like very, very, very mild side boob if you want to get that anal, but there's nothing really going on.
You couldn't see it on a normal fucking Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah. No. So that is the uncensored art of Dark, and I will grab Fairy on for comparison. Definitely, I think. I mean, obviously she's the dark one, but you can definitely tell that they are a little darker and edgier, but are still a very similar design language. The hair structure is kind of the same, and she's got the super long front bangs, but instead of, normal bird wings in her hair, she's got bat wings.
Mm-hmm.
And now her stick, though it still has kind of the like black rose symbol in it, now it's a knife. Also, instead of wearing flats, she's wearing like 4-inch heels. At least she's a clamp person, so those could be like 6-inch stilettos, and I just can't tell.
They're 9-inch nails
because she's tall as shit.
Yeah.
And yes, like I said, chat, this is the uncensored artwork. The parts that were covered up is basically they painted in all of the skin tone bits on her lower body, her torso and legs, as like,
I mean, yeah, like if
leotard purple.
If you see any skin showing below the neck, they painted it in. They just airbrushed it in.
Feels
like
unnecessary.
it doesn't
yeah.
look the worst, but yeah, like Axe just said, it feels very unneeded. So
Because it's not like it's
comparison
like
back and forth between the two.
I don't. She looks like a villainess and she looks like the villainess in like a Precure show. Like some of them are just kind of sexual looking, at least older on.
Oh well, yeah, no, that's not just like an anime thing. Like that's a thing that lots of shows have, where like in America, I think it goes back to like the Hays movie code, where like you couldn't ever show like criminals succeeding. So I think that there was the way that some like just the way pop culture kind of got around that was like, okay, so like that means we can show more like scintillating or titillating things, but we have to attach them to bad characters because bad characters automatically get comeuppance. And I think that's just kind of the way that like a lot of those through lines have carried into like children's media in America. I don't know if Japan has the same vibes, if they like pick that up just from like classic American media, or it also has to do with like Japanese censorship.
American media like kind of forced itself into like shaping a lot of theirs after a point. So
Well, yes, but also they did just import a lot of stuff. Like I don't think it's just because, you know, we occupied their country that they love Mickey Mouse over there. Like I also think genuinely that like the animation of Walt Disney was something that they like picked up on as like, oh,
Tokusatsu was a lot of Tokusatsu was basically jump started by a Spider-Man show.
But yeah, this is Dark. So, wait, Dark works. She's still level 5. She's a level 5 spellcaster. The ladies are now question mark. And, Loth probably might remember off the top of your head. Do you know if it's always times 400?
For Dark?
No, for all of them.
It was. No, it's actually, I believe, different for each one.
Okay, so, Dark reads that her attack and defense are equal to her level times 400. And then
Let me double check.
Each of your standby phases increase the level of this card by 1, max of 12. Glad that they did put that on there, so she's got a maximum attack stat. But that does mean that she starts, assuming she's not negated, she's going to start at 2-2.
2K?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's 4 times 5, which is, for a level 5, okay. For a 1 tribute monster, that's all right. It is each of your standby phases, though, so keep that in mind. Obviously, less of an issue during the 5Ds era. The game was slower and more back and forth, but nowadays that's a little outdated. And rest of her effect reads, when a face-up Fortune Lady you control destroys opponent's monster by battle and sends it to your graveyard, special a Fortune Lady from your graveyard. This effect is unfortunately slow now, but back in the day, very good retrieval effect.
Okay, Omega, it's worse than you thought. 5 and 6 have times 400. 3 and 4 have times 300. 1 and 2 have times 200.
Oh, okay, so it goes down based on their level. That's very unnecessary.
It should have all been times 400, honestly.
I would personally appreciate if they were all times 400. That would track, but okay, so we got a little... So even if you played a spell to, like, say you summon Earth and a bunch of the other Fortune Ladies and you play, like, a spell effect that makes all your monsters' levels the same, they would have different stats. Cool, great, thank you, game.
Glad you've kept Light on board for a while. She's still incredibly weak.
Yeah, so funny how that works out, but yeah, Dark is a card that was permissible back in the day. If you were playing a Fortune Lady deck, which, like I said, I think there's a decent enough to be said for their engine. Earth is a good tribute. Water draws too, and if you're actually playing the other ladies, like some of the other ladies matter. The ability to summon back, like if you destroy by battle, and it's just to say when a face-up Fortune Lady you control, so it includes herself. So if you like tribute summon a monster or tribute summon Dark over a Fortune Lady, that does mean you can set up to an attack on your opponent's turn. So like it gives you good continuation play. Let's go to Earth, just because we're doing it alphabetical. Let's grab the uncensored.
Yeah, like you were saying, all the Fortune Ladies are just the attribute with a Y at the end.
Yeah. So her name in the OCG is Earthy, for instance.
Earthy, Darky, and instead of the Enchan, like you kind of have a flip flop of the English to Japanese.
Yeah. And I think the only case where they did that, they kept that, was Every. They did not drop the Y, probably because it flowed just as fine either way. And saying Fortune Lady Ever would probably be a little weird.
Yeah, it does roll up the tongue a little weird, especially when you're looking at pasty, I assume,
Yes.
which also really sounds wrong.
Sorry,
I probably would have gone
her
for.
blown-
No, go ahead, Love.
Seeing her with these proportions and that hair and face.
It's very good.
Oh,
They are good. They are good looks. All the
Like,
Fortune ladies.
Be careful about who you bullied on the playground. She learned actual magic.
Yeah, no, this is the you bullied that goth girl in high school, so she became a real ass witch.
Look, if you want to know what that's like, listen to Prince T Control. It's got a fuller name, but I won't say it on stream.
But yeah, no. Definitely, you can see the vibes in the art of they are very clearly the same character, because she's still got the weird bowl cut and the double idiot hair and her glasses, but like she's put on some makeup now. You know, I was gonna joke she's got 6 feet taller. It looks like. And most of that is leg. Sorry, reminds me of an old.
I like
little
that
outdated
like the
Hollow
staff
Knight
at least
Crony is,
translates a
9%
little
weight.
bit of like it has the same vibe as her like the original like staff wand.
Yeah, they've got sickle blades now, but they keep some of the same vibes. She's kind of got like the crest filled out. What I was gonna say before is like if talking about Every, what I honestly probably would have done if I was gonna, I would have gotten a little bold, and I would have gone for Fortune Lady Forever, as opposed
the
to,
later
because I
card,
think that's what they're
something like
going
that.
for with her name being Ever.
Well, especially like with the Fortune, like it's the.
That is a vibe, but they didn't go that way, so that leaves them some room to work. That also means that, again, because they do have past, you could do please do Fortune Lady Future or Fortune Lady Futura. You could do that. You could hit me with that one. That one would be great.
don't we have Fortune Lady Future? Isn't that like the support card they got?
They don't have a Fortune Lady named Future. They have a card called Fortune's Future, but there is not literally a Fortune Lady Future. But yeah,
Because like, there's a past, Ever, which I mean, you could you could just do present and future too.
Oh yeah, it's past. That's what it was.
yeah, there is past, there is an Ever, which could be present or forever or whatever, and then I'm like, you could do a Futura. That could work as a way to key this up. Earth,
Like, I guess
as
there
Lo-
is like a spell card called Fortune's Future. But,
Yes.
yeah.
As Loth said, Lady Earth is the other one that's ×4, so because she's 6, that means she's 24, so she has Monarch stats.
Sadly, she kind of sucks.
Yeah, no. Earth is like, again, Earth was a decent like 1 tribute, but she doesn't have quite the same cachet as a Monarch.
Yeah.
But her effect is when the level of this card increases, do 4. So like, again, kind of a time card, kind of has a vibe, and like there are ways you can increase the level mid-play, but it's just she's got a very slow like anime-ass burn effect. So she's definitely your big beater of the deck, because it's very easy to make her quite large in this deck.
I mean, yeah, like within this deck's premise, a big beater that also does a little burn every turn is not the worst thing ever. It's just that especially when you're comparing it to this deck came out in 2019, it's dog water.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the original
I just
Fortune
remember
ladies were like 09. You know, they were.
Oh right,
they were
fairies,
core.
ladies, right?
Yeah,
But
we're in fairies now. But it's
09,
definitely like even
09
even
is
for
what it's on.
09, like I said, she does not have the same cachet as a
Yeah.
Monarch. So like she's already a little slow, but you could summon her as a big Chungus. This is unfortunately she is a card that like over time I think has been power crept the most, because like now her effect is just she's a big beater. Like
Yes.
God knows you're never gonna actually like. Yes, you can increase her level, but you're not gonna do that just to get a little extra burn damage. You know.
No, you're gonna do it just so you can beat over that one asshole monster with a lot of attack points.
Yeah, the only time this burn effect would come up is is in your cowboy for game scenario, which just doesn't happen anymore in modern Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, we've evolved past the cowboy for game. Like the version of cowboy for game is you played a card as a time card, like 20 combo steps ago.
Mushroom Man number 3.
Yeah, shit like that. Or
number 2.
Lacrima, the Fiendsmith card has a burn effect if he's sent. That's also the card that the TCG like banned immediately because he was a common.
Also, sometimes you time yourself when you're playing a deck like Clifford.
True.
Many games I've won because my opponent scouted in turn 1. I'm like, well, I win. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, you scouted twice, dude.
Yeah, time's up, buddy. You paid 24. It's not pay 8, feel great, bud. So we're gonna pull up Fire, or again, Fiery.
Good.
I've never seen her blown up like this.
This is the beauty of the. Like honestly, that effect right there, Loth, is I think why this show exists is because nobody else was like Rada's pathetic aesthetic kind of was doing that, but I feel like he did it in a much more limited fashion. True, and since those streams are so few and far between, nobody's really doing this content of like, hey, what happens if you zoom a Yu-Gi-Oh card in like 400%?
Like, I like the background effect.
I honestly really like the look of Fire. Like,
oh no, Fire's hot.
Like,
she's slaying.
Extremely silly looking with her like with her like handlebar horns, whatever the hell that is. But
she's got
the rest of the design
her
looks
bat
good.
wings, you know.
It's an homage to like, I mean, all of them have like the bat wings sticking out of their head.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
in my mind, it's
bird
like
heads.
literally just like. Also, I like the background too, where it's like there's an entire pressure wave coming from like the eye symbol on her
like
head.
showing the heart
It's
symbol
just
she had.
It's just hilarious that, just going from like, upwards facing hair wing things to outward horizontal bat wings that would make going through a door very difficult.
And she still got the purple bow.
I honestly didn't even notice it on any of the other designs. I think it really just is like the angle that Fire's at makes them stand out far more from the design.
Yeah, 'cause they're
for some reason.
perpendicular.
I just
They're-
noticed
they're-
that like literally your entire background literally is just deformed by like the Earthbound Immortal Eye.
Yeah, no,
Like,
there's a lot of stuff going on there, which is
good.
And also
This is
like
good.
also the hair bow in the back is actually a darker shade, so it's like literally they're literally meant to be deformed darker versions
No,
of each other.
yeah,
Which is
it's,
like
yeah,
they
yeah,
sell
they're
it.
good.
they're great.
Still got
But
the
like
weird-
Fire's a bad bitch, obviously.
Still got the weird kind of carrot looking thing in the background from Fairy, just put over in the background and distorted.
Yeah, she has the same sigil and stuff. No, it's real good. Like the art team was cooking. They had an idea here.
The way her feet are pointed looks like she's literally just floating off the floor.
Yeah, Fire.
I think most of them are. But, yeah.
Fire is the level 2 still. Her attack and defense, as mentioned, becomes level times 200, so she's 4/4 to start. Not very good. When this card is special summoned in attack position by the effect of a Fortune Lady card, target a face-up monster opponent controls, destroy that target. If you do, inflict damage equal to the destroy monster's attack on the field. This is another one that back in the day, talk about time cards, like that could be decent. Like you would set up plays into Fire.
I mean, even again, like this is a much more utilitarian like cowboy for game style card
Yeah.
than Earth. So
Pop
like
one, Fire,
you don't even need
Flame
Earth.
Wing and them. Again, this is a card that if you gave them support now, and it's been like 6 years, Konami, again, you could cook a little. Just if you came up with a good way to summon this card out, this is a pretty good reactive pop. Like I said, pop one. It does have to be face up, but pop
Oh
face
my
up
God,
and
you-
inflict damage.
It doesn't say original, so you really can just
Yeah, no, it's attack on the field.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is just Machu Mech.
No,
this is just a more advanced Machu Mech. Oh my God.
I wasn't gonna bring it up at first, but I did say on the field this is a Machu Mech like FTK type. You could do some Bish Balkan type shit here if you needed to.
You could dual tame the hell out of someone. with
Also,
this
by the way,
girl.
I would like to point out these cards are all from 09. None of the Fortune Ladies are once per turn.
what's a once per turn? We don't
If
we
you
don't do
could
that.
figure out a way to keep special summoning Fortune Lady Fire by a Fortune Lady card, you could keep doing this. This could dual tame you.
Yeah, fire was one of the best ones to use.
Like I don't think this deck is currently loopable, but we could make it so.
I also do like just the aesthetic fitting of fire being the excessive burn one. That's just a like very minor touch. I appreciate.
Yeah, as opposed to
I would
Earth,
say
which
this-
is just burn.
Okay.
This one is destroy a monster and burn.
Well, and I would say this said, you may think it's because she gets less attack because she's a destruction and burn card. No, it's just that the Loth brought this up earlier. Each set of 2 levels is paired. 1 and 2 are 200, 3 and 4 are 300, 5 and 6 are 400. Like they just
let's be
they kind
honest
of
here.
balanced them out because they started higher, but like this card would not be hurt if she was level times 400 and she started as 8/8.
Yeah, like
Dark is literally better than Earth in this deck because she summons from graveyard, unfortunately. As
Which,
opposed
if
to
you
Earth,
summon
which is
fire, like
Yeah.
that could turn into an OTK swing because Dark's effect is when you destroy an opponent's monster by battle, summon back. So like if your opponent has a couple of monsters, run over a small monster, blow up a big monster, and then the fire gets to attack. Like there's plays here.
I think instead of support, they should just retrain the entire archetype bucket.
Honestly, I think the old school ladies could work. Like they are because they don't have once per turns. Like there's room for them to be used.
Yeah,
They just
yeah,
need a
they,
little bit
they
of
could
juice.
be, but just give us more modern-ish versions of the monsters. That's it. That's it. Just do it. But that's a pipe dream.
I mean, I think I'm looking at their artworks. I don't think these guys like need to be like redrawn either. Like they're a solid
Yeah, like, I
archetype
mean, like,
core.
you're-
I think they need some more. First of all, their problem is that they're from the synchro season, and Yu-Gi-Oh exists in an extra deck format, and like again, they released the
God.
Fortune Fairies in like a peak Link format. Why not give them a new card that was like a Link, 1 or 2 or something? Not that the deck needed it, but like
Is her headwings even bigger than Fire's?
I think so.
possibly, yes, could be.
Also, her cuffs are bat wings too. I can't tell.
Yeah, they've all had
Yeah, they've
have
always
that,
had
yeah.
little cuffs.
I have not noticed that. Fucking big anime eyes though. This is the one you don't want to see leave the field by card effect if you're fighting Fortune Ladies.
Yeah, Light is another one that's like in the deck really good. She's a 1. She's a 1er. So that means that her attack is 200. But basically, when this face-up card leaves the field by card effect, special a Fortune Lady from your deck. So she becomes any Fortune Lady. And once again, no once per turn on this. If you can keep a way to keep cycling Lady Light, you can keep summoning them out. Fire, summoned. And I do like that they kind of like the Dark and Light's effects are kind of like inverse of each other. Dark summons from grave, Light summons from deck. That's cute. I like when they think about these things. But like, Light has some juice.
Yeah, no, she's really good. You can do some incredibly stupid plays with the right cards.
And I wanna say, like, she is a level 1 light spellcaster with stuff like that. You can make this work.
Yeah.
You can fuck with this. You can
You
summon her
could-
out with 1-for-1.
Yeah, there you go. You beat me to it.
You can do lots of other little engininos. She's got some plays. But now we're gonna talk about the one that like everybody remembers because like Light is good, and she's one of the ways you can make water work. But water says draw 2, and everyone here in this chat should know. You understand the depths which Yu-Gi-Oh players will go to activate a card or effect that says draw 2 cards.
It's
Yeah.
draw 2 cards is like crack cocaine to a Yu-Gi-Oh player. There's nothing like it. It's
But you do need a Fortune Lady already on field.
Listen. I think I have a Yu-Gi-Oh premise. There is a card that by sacrificing another human soul, you can draw 3 cards at quick play speed.
I mean, that would be like that's you know, I mean, we
I
can even make it in real life.
to
Just the morality of it. If you printed a Yu-Gi-Oh card that said, if your opponent gets to slap you, but you get to draw 3 cards, people would be being slapped live on stream. That would happen. You would take a slap to draw 3.
People start wearing headgear.
Yeah, no,
so, like...
you just put on a fucking on a boxing helmet and be like, "Wind up, brother, hit me."
Your championship Glass Joe from the Wii game where they just give him headgear.
Yeah,
because his skull would literally break and he would die.
But yeah, Water's another great glow up. Like, she was already pretty generic, but now she's like definitely got a very different vibe, I think. I also feel like she's the only one, despite the fact that they're all wearing the leotard, she's the first one where I can like see her belly button.
Okay, God, that should be.
I mean that one could just be like it being. Well, no, because. No, okay. I'm looking at Earth like the staff kind of like blocks that angle of the body, so it could just be one of those like just weird angle things.
Yeah, it could just be that the artist wasn't like thinking about the shot comp, but it's funny. But she's again, she got a vibe.
Honestly, I think that'd be great. Anything. I was thinking that it's like a Twitter thread being like, what could we make an insane effect that is only allowed to be done in paper by the fact of you let your opponent do something horrendous to you physically.
And like I said, I think Yu-Gi-Oh players would go for it. So Water is level 4, and her effect is attack defense becomes level times 3. So, also by the way, this is one of the few cards they did properly reprint. She got a common reprint in 2019 in a tournament pack and an OTS pack. Again, talking about how popular these were. That does mean that her attack stat is only 12/12 to start. You know, she has to get up to 5 before she gets up to normal level 4 stats. So a little weak, but again, I can kind of understand because if this card is special summoned while you control a Fortune Lady, except Water, draw 2. So it doesn't even have to be special to buy a Fortune Lady effect. It's just that, like, if you could do, like, a dark setup or, like, you do a setup with light where you've already got a Fortune on board, it's a very easy way to summon her out. But just anytime you can special summon Water while you've already got a Fortune Lady on the field, draw 2. And once again, not once per turn.
Weirdly enough, the one thing I wish they did with Fortune Lady Water, just keep the droopy eyes or tired look. She doesn't look. I don't see the same kind of facial expression between the two. You know,
she's got a very muted expression.
Yeah, her personality is not quite the same.
Yeah.
Well, and we're gonna move on
to the others. You can see that personality coming through. This one is just you just stand there.
I mean, well, don't say that yet because we're about to do the 3 now. We're gonna do Windy. Fortune Lady Wind.
Oh yeah.
No, that's right. I just grabbed the normal art. Let me grab the uncensored. Not that it matters. It's just that she does. Again, it's they've got hip cutouts and they're wearing thigh highs, so there's thigh.
There's skin that there's sinful skin that we're not allowed to lay our virgin eyes upon.
It's not even like harpies where like harpy ladies do usually have some like side boob and under boob going on. This is all just legs.
The original harpy designs are like, okay, I understand this one. I understand that one. I'll give you that.
Oh my god, sorry.
Especially sorry.
I just saw the Windy. No, she lost her sassy face.
Yes, no. Wind is fortunately Windy is pissed off. She's mad now. That's her thing.
Yeah, like
They couldn't give her at least maybe a manic grin or something. Just keep some of that cheekiness. No.
Yeah, because she's missing her cat smile, but same hair, and like I said, she's mad now.
There we go. Here's how it feels.
What's the my brain's still on the harpy one and like the cyber armor or whatever. Like,
oh yeah, cyber bondage was its literal name in Japanese.
Cyber bondage, where if you've never seen the Japanese version, just has giant spike nipples on it. That again, that one. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. 4 kids. That's fair game. That's a bit much. But 90% of things are like, well, you didn't need to do that one. Like, you really didn't need to go that far.
But yeah, this is the Wind one. And Wind is a 3, and she's also got the 300, so she's 9/9, which is, again, not that much. Nothing. So, like I said, they probably could have made these all 400s, and so she'd be a level 3 with 12/12. That'd be pretty normal. She's unique.
She's a really shitty Stratos.
Yeah, she's unique because she is the normal, and she has the Stratos effect. You activate the least. On normal, destroy a number of spell or traps your opponent controls equal to the number of face-up Fortune Ladies. Now, since
I mean, hey, to be fair,
do have some vibes. She does include herself.
To be fair, that part of Stratos was a critical component to his very original incarnation of Windblade, but also that deck was not very real in the TCG. I think it lasted like a week.
Yeah, the date release and lineup. I mean, like I said, that's why I said not his bad effect, but his least used effect. Wind is at least on normal. She does do a thing. Like, she can pop 1, and if you control more, she can pop more. But it is only on normal.
Yeah, it should have been normal or special. Fuck it. Like, literally, what? Oh no, you get to have Feather Duster's Bane. We can let you have possibility of destroying a lot of spell trap cards.
But it's one of those things where, like, with the way there's setup and other stuff going on, you can take this these days. And again, it's not. This one is not a once per turn, but it does require you're on normal, so I don't think it's as much of a concern. Now there are a couple of cards released from back in the day, and I don't know if they were in. I'll check their appearances tab in a second. I don't know if they were like out and about in the anime. Let me double check appearances. No, okay, so this card wasn't in the anime, but these were cards that were released around the same time and very much feel like they are associated. The first is, and Loth will probably recognize this one, because it's Katobopas and the Witch of Fate.
Yeah.
So first of all, the Witch of Fate's name is Unme no Majo. Again, very similar to the way the Fortune Fairy names were done. You know, Witch of Fate, Fortune Telling Witch.
God, I can't. I really can't.
Can't say Katobopas. It's got a lot of syllables.
Katobopas.
Yep.
There we go.
Look at this.
My brain season is like trying to keep wanting to go Katoblepis. I'm like, that's not right. That doesn't sound right.
Nope, that's not quite correct. But I could see why you'd say that because, like I said, it's a Greek name and there's a lot of syllables. But Witch of Fate here is a Earth spellcaster 4. She does have 1800 attack, so like decent stats. Was released in Star Strike Blast, the same as the rest of the actual Fortune Ladies. But this says, when your opponent special summons a monster, you can remove from play one monster with question mark attack from your graveyard to destroy that special summon monster. So she's a Thunder King Ryo that banishes a Fortune Lady from your graveyard.
Remove from play.
Yes, no, this card hasn't been printed since Stardust Overdrive, so she is still pre-PCST.
Solitaire Magician does outright call Fortune Lady, so we might talk about her.
Yeah, no, she's next. Solitaire Magician actually does call out the ladies, but Katobopas is one of those cards that I saw the wiki mention, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's related, but then I saw it and I'm like, oh, this was literally released in the same set as the Fortune Ladies, so like this was they probably were thinking about it. She's a spellcaster with like a floodgate effect, so like there's a little bit of synergy. And like I said, her name Unme no Majo is kind of similar, so I'm like, I think these were something that like Konami saw something there. Solitaire Magician is definitely like they straight up were like thinking about this. And it is also art-wise a little preview of what would eventually become Every.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything to say about Katobopas and the Witch of Fate. I will say, because it sounds like Witch and 100 Knight. It sounds like the name of a fucking PS3 era video game or PS2 era video game.
Yeah.
It sounds like the name of what is it? A Nipponichi Software spin-off game that they made
Yeah.
in between the Disgaea.
Yeah. And like she's
which
got
better,
those
I guess,
vibes because
although.
like you can't see her eyes, so you just see her like little smug little meh face. You know, as she's chilling on top of this guy. Like it looks like a video game cover. I'll take it, but there's not a lot to say there. Solitaire Magician released in Stardust Overdrive, so like a little later in the 5Ds era there. Whose name was Solitaire Magical in the
Magicaru.
in the OCG.
It's very version of a fortune lady.
Yeah,
Basically,
this
like her,
basically is
like a bridge.
yeah. They didn't have a good concept for bridges, but she's clearly supposed to be like the like art style branch between fortune fairies and ladies.
Okay, I'm sorry. I do love that she's still wearing the like fortune fairy sexy leotard.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's very funny
But in
because she's
chibi
like, it's very like because she's so super deformed, like very 80s. I want to say almost like we've gone back even further than the 90s to the 80s with like her bright blues.
It feels very much like pseudo Devilman, like circa style.
Yeah,
Like definitely leaning like more girlish than where Devilman goes. But I mean, going to guys drawn both like Devilman and like he's what was the he did a magical girl. He created a magical girl
Cutie Honey.
style.
He made
Basically.
Cutie Honey.
Cutie Honey. That's what it was. Thank you. I blanked on the name of it.
yeah. So like that's a cute thing they can kind of come back to. And like I said, they use this style to become every later. So
Yes,
she's
right.
not an archetype
will be
member,
the
but she
thing.
does name them. Solitaire Magician is a light spellcaster level 4. She's 16-13. Once per turn, select one face-up Fortune Lady you control and one other face-up monster on the field. Reduce the level of the selected Fortune Lady by 3. Destroy the other monster. So
Honestly, a pretty good effect. Like it's not perfect, but like it's still spot removal. That's
yeah,
not bad.
it's a spot removal effect that doesn't require you to get rid of them, and like while the Fortune Ladies themselves didn't get a tuner until past, it was the Synchro era. You could be playing generic Synchros. They're all spellcasters, so you could set up like Arcanite Magician plays and stuff like that. Like the ability to level fix for a pop is not terrible. It's just the kind of thing where like this was probably a little slow in the deck as it came out, and obviously was very quickly as we got to the Xyz era kind of outpaced of like, oh, reduce the level of a face-up Fortune Lady, you know, setting back her attack stat to get a pop is like, But
it's the kind of thing you'd look at and say that's cute, and I can see what you're going for, but there's no outward synergy to make it work.
Yeah.
But it's not an inherently bad effect.
Yeah. And she does explicitly name check the ladies, so like it's clearly related and obviously aesthetically related. So they go through this a little. But let's talk about they had to have a field spell because Carly was playing Earthbound Immortals, so you needed a field spell to make that work. So Future Visions.
Future Vision.
Just Future Vision in the OCG, but I like Visions because it's plural. And I do like what they're going through aesthetically. They show you these like card-shaped panels. Guess what? There's 6 of them, 1 for each attribute.
This card, like you said a long time ago, this is the wonkiest lose one turn in the world.
It's I think possibly the world's funniest floodgate. So Future Visions is, I'll say it, it's very simple. We can fit its entire effect into one line in the text box of the Wikipedia. Each time a monster is normal summoned, target it, banish it. During the next standby phase of the player who controlled that monster, return it to the field and face up attack position.
Was it this card that people banned in Frog because I played it and people were like, I hate that card?
I think it did get banned to limit because it is like back in the day we were so normal summon heavy that it was like, okay, you can't be eating my normal summon chief. It sucks so much.
I mean, look, it's been a while. Did I not win a week with Volcanic because I just had like 3 lose one turn and bullshit?
True.
Or I got really far that week.
Yes,
because I was just playing Volcanic.
You were the world's luckiest unlucky person and pulled like 3 lose one turn, which was a fucking ultra. in that pack, and it was just after 1 week of that, we were all like, "Oh no, that's gotta go. That shit sucks." That's
would this been better if I always just every time I said something, everyone just play a fucking better deck next. It would have been better if I just played into that.
Maybe, I don't know.
like,
But Visions is like it's a bad floodgate, especially these days when normal summoning is not so heavy. Though I'm kind of surprised nobody tried to tech this in against like Fluanderies. I guess it's because they do banish, so that means their banish effects proc. But it would be so funny to just eat all of their normal summons and send them back to hand, basically.
It really is just like a very bizarre kind of floodgate. That's not even a proper floodgate. It's just this is mildly annoying.
But if you normal summon light, it procs light. And like future. It's funny I'm saying future, but that is true. Chronologically, cards that come later will play into banishing Fortune Ladies a little bit. So it kind of works out, and I believe you do get to order their effect, so it does mean that when they come back, you're immediately going to proc their level up effect. But it's just so goofy, and like obviously, like I said, these days way too slow to matter because it's just unnormal. But just like imagine you're playing fucking 5Ds, right? Where usually one of your normals is going to matter to set up your synchro plays or something. Or even set up, like, you special summon so you can normal summon a Monarch. Well, what happens if your Monarch is fucking heated to the next dimension, right? Like, just...
I have bamboozled people in Master Duel because they go, okay, I'm going to normal summon this, and what do you mean it's gone?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it can be a very important part of the play still. Like, the normal summon usually matters.
It really does not... Well, we're gonna talk to death at this point, but it's nothing that's like super ban worthy. Like, oh, we can't allow this card to exist, but it's just
irritating, and like and the funny thing is that like the deck, it like does not directly do anything for the Fortune Lady deck except for light. But I think that's enough. I mean, obviously, also as chat brought up, the way Osculapiscu works is also when it leaves the field. So, like, if you normal summoned Osculapiscu while you have Future Visions, its effect immediately procs to blow up your opponent's board and hit him with the burn damage. Like, so there's a little bit of weird synergy. Oh, weird. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to grab their counter trap, but it's telling me that the media is not displaying. Let me try and search it from a different angle. What's this card again? Bending Destiny, Master Duel. So like my idea of future support for Fortune Ladies is they need a card which searches a card which probably mentions Fortune Ladies, because they do have several archetype spell traps, like the card I'm about to pull up, because yes, I did secure the art for.
Yeah, like a. And
so you can't just say search a Fortune spell trap.
An easy piece of legacy support, it really just is to just slap a tuner effect on it, a tutor effect.
But the funny thing is that because of the way Future Visions works, it doesn't count in that. So you would probably need to do the thing that some other legacy support do, which says search, add a Future Visions, or a spell trap that mentions Fortune Lady from your deck to your hand.
And you know what? I don't think anybody would bat an eye at that, because that makes sense.
Honestly, if you also made it that you could set it face up in your field zone, like you could just activate Future Visions from deck to dodge Ash Blossom.
Who cares?
That would probably not break the game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
It would be funny. It would be irritating, but it would not break the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Nothing with this card. This is their spell trap, Bending Destiny.
Wacky ass
the
art.
Yeah, no. Love this shit. Like, you know, shows like a person's life path ahead of them, you know. But this is their counter trap. This says when a monster would be normal summoned or a spell trap card is activated, while all face-up monsters you control are Fortune Ladies, min 1, negate the summoner activation and banish. The banished cards returned to the hand during the end phase. So it is a solemn, basically. Like, this is solemn strike or a negate of a spell trap, and banishes it. But it is returned during the end phase, so they get their monster back. So it's like...
But to the hand.
Yeah. And it's only on negates a normal summon. Once again, talking about how annoying this deck is, but like that's rude. That's very rude for you to play a Solemn Strike that banishes their card for the whole turn, so it's not even like sent to graveyard. And it does loop back, but it loops back to their normal summon. So basically, it's like, all right, buddy, you're going back for a turn.
What's that? You attributed some monsters to summon an asshole? Nope.
Oh yeah, no. Like, so there's room in here for that to be useful still. Like, I think that's it's a card that would be very funny to set up. Next we have I mentioned before there is a Fortune's Future card. Which also, hey, is another card that says draw 2. That's right, this deck has a multiple draw engine, which is why I think they thought the Fortune Fairies would be okay, but they're really not, because they're Wens. This is a normal spell card, Fortune's Future. It shows fire and drawing 2. There's 2 extra cards here.
Really, like, you think it would be water, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to go with fire here, but especially because fire also doesn't banish herself. But this just says, target one of your banished Fortune Ladies, return it to the graveyard, then draw 2. So it's only a normal spell, but it's an archetypal pot, and also is Burial from a Different Dimension, which, depending on what you're doing,
it's
could
an
be
archetypal. It's an archetypal pot of greed that doesn't really have that craziest of a stipulation on it.
Yeah. Especially because, like we brought up, yeah, some of your monsters like may want to be obviously returning them with Future Visions like works for some, like sending light. You probably don't really want that light back because she's tiny. You would much rather probably return her to graveyard and then draw 2. Like, there's something here. Also, once again, not once per turn. No once per turns in this archetype. This is one of those decks. The more I read it, I'm like, okay, maybe I understand why Konami hasn't gone ham with support yet, but I'm like, I want him to go because there's something here. There's a much like Infernity. This has the room to become a pet deck that's like good at locals, but probably won't ever be really, really good. But it would be so funny, right? Because you can just pick up your whole fucking deck. They do have a normal trap as well. That's their next one we're going to talk about. Inherited Fortune. Got a cool action shot. You've got light, kind of going into light and wind. Doing a pose. I'll show you the censored art just because I don't want to dig up the uncensored. Oh no, you can't see their thighs because they've got full body stockings, not just thigh highs.
Wow. Okay, I did not realize the body stocking wasn't. I assumed it would just be like a full colored in skin suit.
No, they made them color themed. They're like opposites. Like Earth's is like purple, like Dark's, and I think Dark's might be brown.
They made them actually like look like things that actually part of the outfit.
Like
so,
light is like
effort into it, which is weird.
Lights is like a lavender color, like a light purple. It's a little weird. They decided to do some color theory shit. That's some of it works and some of it doesn't. Like I think Fire's is like greenish blue. Inherited Fortune, or just Fortune Inherit in the OCG, is a normal trap that says, activate during the turn. A face-up Fortune Lady you control was destroyed. Special summon 2 Fortune Ladies from your hand during your next standby phase, which obviously, like, you're activating this, the turn has been destroyed, so next turn. For 2009 Yu-Gi-Oh! When this came out, not bad. Like, oh no, my Fortune Lady got run over. Anyway, my next standby phase, I'm going to special summon 2, and they're immediately going to level up. Could be perceivable. Probably a little too slow these days, but, like, cute. We're trying. We're trying to do stuff. This is another card that's, like, not directly related, but it does have Fortune in its name, and, like, it is clearly supposed to be in there, and in the anime was archetype only. Fortune Slip. Or Slip of Fortune. Yeah. Slip of Fortune is the OCG name. The TCG name. The OCG name's Fortune Slip. Got a cute artwork of, like, 2 Gurren Lagann-ass guys fighting each other, and one of them is, like, slipping through.
doesn't look like it's anything related to the fucking Fortune Ladies, but
Oh, Zed also brought up that the Inherited Fortune is also not once per turn. So that means if somehow you drew all 3 in setup, you could, not that you'd have 6, but you could special summon fucking 6. So again, it's this deck, while I think most of us have a little bit of PTSD about Future Visions because, as we've said, it's very annoying. This is a deck that I know Loth played a lot of, and it's like, this deck is so funny to me. I'm like, I'd love for them to get some legacy support just because it would be very funny for Fortune Ladies to be good again.
Did I not win at least one Frog week with it? I swear I did.
You might have gotten us 1 week. Like, I think you could have gotten this deck to be consistent to win a Prog. It's a limited format. But Slip of Fortune was originally archetype locked, so it is, like, in the anime, it's an archetype card. In the game, I think they did the correct version. Because this just says, activate when your opponent's monster declares an attack targeting a monster. Negate the attack. Remove from play the attack target monster until the next standby phase. So again, never been reprinted since Ancient Prophecy in 2009, but it's just, if you don't parse all that, because this could use a PCST.
God, I was trying to just like remember the card this reminded me of. The thing attacking. This, I'm just gonna call him Black Panther because like that, just like the look and design just makes me see Black Panther. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But this fucking just aimless blob reminded me of one of Panic's monsters.
It does kind of look like that. But if you don't understand what Slip of Fortune does right away, because like I said, it could use a PCST, you can only activate it when your opponent's attacking a monster, but you negate the attack and banish the targeted monster until the next standby phase. So not turbo useful in the deck, but does activate cards like Light, and obviously would cause an Asclepiuscu nuke.
If for some reason you found a way to get over Asclepiuscu, I think isn't destroyable by battle because Earthbound Immortals.
Yeah, but it technically you would prefer to banish Asclepiuscu than have yourself take probably 500 because it'd probably be like a 3k attacker to the dome, some shit like that.
I mean, you still get a lot of mileage out of it. I'm just saying if for some reason your opponent wants to attack.
Yeah. And like I said, it does at least trigger some of their effects and or set up your other plays. Their next card is, and this is why I say they would need a searcher that searches cards that mention Fortune Lady, is just called Time Passage. This is, I think, unironically, their best spell. God, sorry, you showed me the snake-faced guy.
Yeah.
Oh, God, and he's got the fucking pre-adjusted stats. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
16, 10 attack.
I believe this guy's name is Dark Chimera. I'd have to pull it back up again.
Chimera? Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
Yes.
Chat asking, yes. Time Slip would, Slip of Fortune would trigger Light in the battle phase basically, which is funny.
Yeah. I assume that's the ideal situation.
Yeah, no, because that probably means that you summon Dark or Earth and just tell your opponent, okay, do you want to redeclare Bub? Especially because if you also have this card, Time Passage, which is just shows clock numbers and light, but I think it works. This is a quick play spell that just says target a fortune. You can target a Fortune Lady you control. Increase its level by 3 until the end of this turn.
Which is nice. I mean, hell, you compare that it's admittedly a shitty 2-card combo to just get a pop, but you can just combo those without penalty, or you could set up single play.
Just having an in-archetype rush recklessly, very cute, like I said, because this, obviously the effect is better the higher levels are, but this makes a Dark who does have the Destroy by Battle effect very big, because she's the 4, so this gives Dark plus 12, so that means she goes from 2k to 32. That will beat most things. You do this
makes
to
her a pretty
Earth.
huge beater.
Earth is 24, and you're adding 12. We're 36.
36, which functionally with their burn effect, puts 4k on board. Not bad.
No, very solid. And even the littles, this just like, oh, your opponent thinks, I'm gonna, they special summoned, water to draw 2, or summoned fire to pop me.
I mean, it
I'm gonna
turns
get you on the crackback. Meh.
it turns water from a 1200 to a 21, so it gets over most normal summons.
Yeah, gets over most other 4s. Like it's not perfect, but like this is a card that, like I said, you give them an archetype searcher, you'd play this. Like, we talk a lot about how attack modulation is one of those things that people downplay until it matters. Even for light and fire, who are only gaining 2, that's +6. Depending on what your opponent's doing, that can matter. And obviously, like if they've actually gained a couple of levels, it, also
There
matters.
is... I do not think that there is any Fortune Lady you would flip this over on that you would not feel bad about doing, just because like it's 600 to
even if your opponent's still beating over a light or a fire, if it means you take 600 less damage, okay, sure.
And that means you don't die.
No, and like I said, so just whatever we do, Konami, whatever you do to make to remember Fortune Ladies, whether it's this year or in 2029, you do it another 10-year gap. Just make it so they can search time passage, basically. And like I said, they did get some legacy support into in 2019 in a core set, Rising Rampage. They added a couple. The first is they finally gave them a tuner, which is Fortune Lady Past, or Fortune Lady Pasty, as we said. So, again, clearly, like, another thing to say about the Fortune Ladies and the Fortune Fairies is, like, shout out to Carly for just playing a deck that's just her. Especially, they kept that theme going. Past is really just her in the Dark Signer outfit.
Yeah. Which, I mean...
It works, though.
It's a really good look.
Yeah, this is a great vibe. Like, the black and the glowing orange. And I also think this card is actually, I'll double check the gallery, but I think this isn't edited. Like, they got over it.
So
Yeah, no, the Master Duel artwork is...
She just does the fucking Dawn Salute thing. She summons Past and just walks forward onto the field.
If she ever came back, probably, but it never happened.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I believe the artwork for Japanese and for worldwide Master Duel are the same. So they just got over it. Which is funny to say about Konami, but they did. They did just get over it. So, like, this is a good one.
I mean, yeah, like it's character development. I mean, 5Ds was still for kids. Yeah. So, or no, it would have been right around that shift. Would have been right around the.
But yeah, so Lady Past is obviously going to be a modern card, so we got some vibes. She's a level 1. She's a dark spellcaster tuner level 1. So, for starters, once again, level 1 tuner, good pull, good pick. That's like they're trying to give you something. Hulk was still legal. They kept it consistent. Her attack and defense becomes its level times 200. So, like, just like Light, she starts at 2/2. Once per turn during your standby phase, increase this card's level by 1. You can target a Fortune Lady you control, banish any number of spellcaster monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard. If you do, increase or reduce that monster's level by the number banished until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn.
That's insane. That's crazy.
So it is an on-field effect, but they do have multiple ways to special summon, and so just fucking banish from hand, field, or grave any number of Fortune Ladies to increase by the number of monsters banished, or decrease. So this lets you proc Earth's Burn, and also makes her big. Just level modulates, but also, again, that does mean down. That means you can level modulate your big ladies to make synchro plays.
I mean, like...
It does require you have stuff on the field, hand, or graveyard, so already with some setup.
I mean, yeah, like, you've already done setup, but this card's flexibility still does showcase just within reading it itself.
I mean, like I said, hey, 1-for-1 says you gotta pitch a monster, so, like, at the minimum, if you've got a normal summon and a pitch, you can 1-for-1 passed out, etc., shit like that. Like, the deck itself doesn't inherently do graveyard setup, but if you're playing the deck to get to past, you're probably playing the kind of cards that will give you setup, And like I said, a dark level 1 tuner, that's great. Like, they're trying really hard to make this generically accessible. That opens up a lot of room, and it has a level modulate effect. And guess what? If you just want to modulate levels, like for attack stats or something, she can banish herself. Like, she just says, target a fortune that you control, banish any number of other spellcasters than it. So she can banish herself if you need to. If you need to just get one. Like, there's some wiggle room here. And so, obviously, because they gave it an archetype tuner, that means that we
get a synchro.
Yeah, it's the one.
The only.
Well, it is Every. And like I said, they kept the Y.
Was Fortune Lady pasty?
Yes, she was pasty.
God, that sounds weird.
I'm like, that's why, yes, the dropping the Y is like, yes, please keep doing that.
That's why I made the joke of pasty.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even register it when you said it.
I think they could do Every, like, they could have done Fortune Lady Ever. That does feel a little weird, but Every does kind of sound like a girl's name, at least.
I do appreciate it is just Solitaire Magician, but they removed just the blue. They gave her a proper, like, white cloak.
Yeah. This is kind of
and
like
a dragon tail? Oh, no, that's a scythe. My bad.
Yeah.
You know what? You said that, and I immediately went, no, that is a tail. Oh, no, it's not.
But, like, they clearly did...
take the homage from Solitaire Magician.
Yeah, Solitaire. And I don't know if the gag here is it's supposed to be like the idea is that it's like Carly redeems herself kind of a thing, after Dark Signers. Because obviously
they didn't censor this one, did they?
No, not at all. Also, yeah.
Let's see what Wikipedia trivia has to say about Every's look.
Not a lot. It does at least say that this is the first Fortune Lady that was not altered, so she wasn't censored.
She looks like she could literally beat someone to death with that staff.
It's a very big staff.
Like, ignoring the blade part, just bonk.
So, fortunately,
Every...
You the terrorized Duel Links!
Oh, yeah, there was good in Duel Links, baby.
In Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, when Dark Signer Carly summons this, she refers to it as a Dark Synchro, and the Dark Synchro summon animation plays instead of the normal one. Was this a Dark Synchro? There's no way.
No, it didn't actually show up in the anime, but
there's no way.
I didn't look at what fucking Dark Signer Carly's skill was. What the fuck did she do?
Yeah, I know.
But so Every is a light spellcaster synchro. She's level 7. She is question mark. Her materials are semi-generic. It's one tuner and one or more non-tuner spellcasters, which again, you probably would already be playing spellcaster locked synchros like Arcanite Magician in this deck, so gives us some flexibility.
Yeah, no, she didn't synchro summon in her deck. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She has a fuck ton of different skills.
But they keep the theme, so 7s is also 4, which is probably good because if it was 5, this card would be fucking stupid. At level times 400, this is already a sync 7 that's 28. This beats up Stardust Dragon.
That's already pretty huge.
And still, once per turn during your standby phase, increase this card's level by 1. So, hypothetically, if you could keep this around for multiple phases, she gets bigger. Also, then you can banish one face-up monster your opponent controls. Like, if we get to your standby phase, very punishing. Also, during your end phase, if this card's in your graveyard, you can banish another spellcaster from your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use this effect once per turn.
Notably.
Oh, yes, during your opponent's end phase, sorry. I thought, yeah. So, this isn't like I joked that they gave it a win condition. She's not really a win condition.
Oh, no.
Unless you're going second, this might be enough for an OTK crack. Like, again, you throw fucking time passage on her, she's gonna gain, 12, and she's already 28. That's crazy. She's like, what, 42 then? Or is 5k flat?
Yeah, no, like, not to mention, like with
4k flat? Yeah. 4K
with that opponent's end phase effect, she's going to come back, hit level 8, and banish a monster.
Yes. Like,
so
if your opponent gets rid of this and the duel is not over, And remember, she requires a non-tuner spellcaster, so you will have the materials needed in your graveyard. She comes back at the end phase, and then, like I said, it's your end, becomes your standby phase. She gets 8, which makes her, what, 8 times 4? Is that 32? Yeah.
32?
Yeah,
which is
32.
pretty huge.
For a synchro, 32 beats up Red Dragon Archfiend, and banishes a face-up.
And considering like what you talked about with the name should have been forever, it like feels like she's just here forever.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I do want to point out that is a non-targeting banish. That
Yeah,
just
not-
says you
not to
can't banish a
mention
face-up
you-
monster your opponent controls. Get fucked.
Not to even reference like if you time passage then where she hits level 11 and she's 44, which is probably beats over just basically anything but 5 god dragon or 5-headed
Sorry, is
dragon.
that correct? Is that one of the skills Carly gets in dueling? She just gets to increase a Fortune Lady's level by 3?
She just gets time passage?
Actually,
She
she
has
gets a few versions. Actually, I can tell you them.
Probably they nerfed
Okay.
it is what's going up, yeah.
Oh, let's see. There are 3 different versions. There's one where it's the beginning of your turn, increase level of all Fortune Ladies you control by 1. Another, she has a second one, which is Earthbound Immortals. The one is Time Passage, which increases the level of one Fortune Lady you control by 3 into the end
So
phase.
she just has the spell as a.
It's only been used once per turn. She has a thing you can get later, Fortune Overclock. Select one Fortune Lady you control. That monster's level becomes equal to the current turn count max 12. At the end of the turn, the level drops 0, so only use once per turn.
Oh.
That's
that's
hilarious.
it.
Please
She,
make that just a
she also
card.
has one where it's can I just read some of these out to you guys because
Go
some of
for
these are
it.
crazy.
Because it sounds like
Okay.
they went through a lot of tuning for this.
There is
for-
like
for-
she has like
for this
20
character.
different skills you could use, but 8 of them are very cool. It's like fortune telling. Select one fortune lady you control and activate the top card of your deck. If the activated is a monster, selected fortune lady's monster's level increases by the level of the executed monster. Then return the executed card to the top of your deck. You only use once per turn, twice per duel.
Take
Fortune,
the top
future
card of
fortune.
your
As
deck
long
if
as you
it's a
control
monster,
2 or
increase your
more.
level by that amount. God, they should also make that a real card for Fortune Ladies, because that would be funny as fuck.
Fortune telling you. Future fortune. As long as you control 2 or more fortune lady monsters, you can view the top card of both players' decks. Future visions.
If that's just a one-sided, that's really strong. Wow.
As long as you control 2 or more. You only have 3 slots, but yeah. Can be used after your life points decrease by 1,500. Play future visions for outside of your deck. This skill can only be used if you begin the duel of a deck, excluding extra deck that includes 5 or more Fortune Lady monsters of different names. This skill can only be used once per duel.
That's a very strong Duel Links thing. There's lots of Duel Links skills that do that, where you just
Pull it out of the
manifest
game.
the field spell if you're playing the right deck.
Honestly, I just feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime should function by skill rules because I think that'd be cooler if people just have like signature moves that are skills.
I mean, that was Brains, but it was Sartorius's where they had to nerf one of the skills to include more, and people just kept looking for the next best coin flip card to put into their deck.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember when you and I tried to play Rush Duel and we were like, one of these skills? Oh.
No, it was Speed Duels.
Speed
Oh,
duel.
Speed Duels is a skill one, yeah. No, and some of the Speed Duel skills are good, but like I
there's
said,
some cool ones like Earthbound Immortals where just like when you play when you control Earthbound Immortal, you can set one of the cards that you do cool things based off the Earthbound Immortal or make offerings or.
That's neat.
She also did
I do want to
Spellcaster
say,
and
I
Level
feel like
Augmentation.
several of those skills should just be Fortune Lady cards. The one to like excavate, make it a hopped, but just excavate the top card of your deck if it's a monster, increase one of your Fortune Ladies level by that monster's level is like, that's funny. Give me that shit. That sounds hilarious.
That it's very much like tarot readings, like tarot reading, like going with the Arcana Force, and what is it, the other one, the Flower Guardian, where you're
Also, I
playing
think
Void.
I also think they could have made unfortunately.
You do that card and like, oh man, I excavated one of the Kaijus I have as an answer. Oh no.
Let's see, we're
Oh, no,
offering
yeah, that's great. That's-
Spellcaster's a shade, but I think
I also
limitation.
that sounds like
Actually, each of these goes out loud.
The other skill is the other one that talked about, the one that's just if you control like 2 or more Fortune Ladies. That should just be a new line of effect if they retrain their field spell of just like, if you control 2 or more Fortune Ladies, you could just look at the top card of your of both players' decks.
And at the beginning of your turn, increase the one level of, or basically in your standby phase. So basically, like double increase the levels of your Fortune Ladies.
Yeah, just something like that is like that's. Actually, no. It should be during either standby phase. You can choose one Fortune Lady to increase. Because remember, part of their problem is that they're only during your standby, so they're slow. Like that's what I would. We're not quite to their new spell traps. Actually, did I put the art up for?
I think
no, I didn't
with,
put the art up for
with
calling yet.
every every time she increases a level, you get to banish a monster, or just when she's
No, it's the same effect. It's during your standby, increase her level, then you can.
Okay. Yeah, so if it was, hey, make every standby phase count for Fortune Lady, she just banishes every standby phase.
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, if, depending on the gameplay, there'd be nothing to target. Like, that's probably not an issue, but just giving them ways to increase on your opponent's turn as well to trigger could work. That's what I say is, like, if we're talking about future support, that's the thing they need. They need a card that searches the right deck, and like I said, just give me the funny shit. So this is Fortune Lady calling.
I know from the name there should be past coming out, but it really looks like every shoving past in a time hole and saying, get the hell out of here.
No more goth phase. Fuck you.
I grew out of you.
You
Actually,
are cringe.
Like with past her mouth, it looks like it's kind of open, so it looks like a no.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it does.
But yeah, so Fortune Lady calling is a normal spell that says if you control a Fortune Lady, especially the Fortune Lady from your deck with a different name from the cards you control, for the rest of this turn you're synchro locked. You can only activate one per turn. Again, if modern Fortune Ladies had something to do, this is cracked. We talked before about how past is pretty good with her effects, right? And Loth said, oh, you need a way to get cards on board and have them around. Calling is just fucking tag team any of your Fortune Ladies. Crazy good. And also does mean that the draw engine really works because remember that Water just says she has to be special while you control a Fortune Lady. So this is just draw two.
This is this in theory is just the freest +1 of your life.
So like crazy good shit.
Well, not free because you get synchro locked, but
yeah. But you have a tuner in archetype, so that's just hey, normal your tuner, special any Fortune Lady, synchro play. This is real good, and the only reason why you may not have seen it is just because they have not. The ladies themselves are a 2009 deck that is was good back then, but doesn't do enough. Oh, this is funny. So, this is one of their modern supports, but they kept it. So they don't censor new cards, but they keep old cards censored. Weird. The card I'm pulling up is Fortune Lady
It feels like a weird
Rewind.
consistency thing or something.
Yeah. But Fortune
So I
Lady
guess
Rewind features Dark and Water.
I guess they just keep the continuity of the original
like I said, they have to keep
anime
it consistent,
looks,
I guess, but weird.
Well, see, like the dark doesn't look dark is kind of what I expect. Like it's off color, but it doesn't look weird compared to
kind of the right color. Same with Water.
Yeah,
honestly, Water's being a slightly lighter shade of blue is not that she's just got another blue shade on her body. It really doesn't.
Yeah, it's with Fortune that it looks the weirdest because it's hard green, and Earth is what was it? It was what was it, brown or black? I forget.
Honestly, I think I think
Earth
the colored body glove part. Honestly, I don't mind. I think it looks nice.
It looks fine.
No, it's just one of those things that, when you see the comparison back and forth, you're like, so what you're hiding from me is that she's wearing a leotard and thigh highs and has hip windows, Konami. That's what you're hiding from me is oh no. Because it is a leotard. It's all one garment, It's not like she's wearing like thong panties,
I mean, I have. This is not really this is a partial joke, but it's I don't know. Sometimes I think with the censorship where they add stockings on the lady, I think that looks hotter than just her having nothing at all under her pants.
I mean, that is a psychological factor of covering up can be cooler than not.
Huh.
This could use a lost art.
Try to censor this. Oh no, you've made it worse. Or awaken someone else's fetish.
But Rewind is a normal trap that says good.
I did not realize compared to some of the other Fortune Ladies how small the size on Water and Dark's arts are. I was glancing back at their looks. I'm like, no, that is how they looked.
Yeah, they're a little far back. Rewind is a normal trap that says target any number of banished Fortune Lady monsters with different names, special summon them, but shuffle them into the deck during the end phase. You can activate one per turn. That's right. this deck has an in-archetype return from the different dimension. And still wasn't good, and like I don't think this deck came back in 2019 with the support.
Not at all.
You know what's funny? I think this also still procs Light's effect if you bring her out.
I do believe, yes, Light leaves the field, so effects activating in deck is weird. Sometimes the game lets them resolve, sometimes they don't. That's a ruling thing. But hypothetically, that means she is leaving the field by card effect.
Nothing else happens after the shuffling effect, so it would proc.
Ooh, nasty. Yeah,
but
also, like I said, they have an in-archetype return from the different dimension. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is a win, but nothing happens. Nothing happens after the resolution of the effect returning it.
Yeah. So, but like that's again, so that means they have an in-archetype return from the different dimension. That's pretty good. And like shuffling, yeah, like honestly, the penalty for shuffling back is like good. Like, presumably, why you would be activating this is you're activating this like probably on your opponent's turn after they've done something to your board or you've cycled through a lot of cards, and you just go, okay, cool, I'm just gonna summon back 4 of these ladies, so to chump block so you can't kill me, and also I'm probably gonna like draw some cards then and shit.
Or just something like, okay, I'm gonna different dimension, or I'm using DDR fire pop one of your guys, intern light, intern stuff with light, summon water. I
do not think fire procs because I think she has to be summoned by a Fortune Lady effect.
Is it by the effect of a Fortune Lady card? It's Fortune Lady.
No, that
Rewind.
does work. Rewind does proc, yes, because they wrote that very carefully. Yeah, so yeah, no, fire prop works.
Fire like fire light is a pretty good combo, and also like the worst part is fire doesn't stay on board, but you still get a pop burn and
and then the beautiful thing is it shuffles them back into your deck, so you just get to fucking look for them again.
Yeah, like you still get the resource back.
Again, trust me, like, I've been playing, like I said, like, White Forest Azamina with the Fiendsmith package. Like, ending your combo with a card that shuffles your shit back into the deck is actually really good, because, like, if your opponent doesn't die right away, or if you're doing it on your opponent's turn as, like, part of an interrupt, that means those resources are just back in for you to get back later. Like, there's real juice here. And then the last one is we kind of retrained Future Visions because they have a continuous spell called Fortune Vision.
Hold on, sorry. Looking up card rulings. However, you cannot activate the effect of Fortune Leader Light when it's returned to the deck from the field.
What?
Yeah, I think that's just a ruling thing where they just say it doesn't work. I think it's so cards like you can get rid of cards like Mirror Jade and Absolute Zero, even though sometimes the rulings say you can still do effects like Mirror Jade.
That's an effect that's a ruling I wasn't aware of with specific like rulings on shuffling into the deck.
I think it's a thing, like I said, where Konami just sometimes just calls out cards and is like, no, you can't do this if you shuffle it to the deck.
It's weird because it's leaving the field, but
I mean, no, you should.
I mean, yeah,
as you said, it's activating in deck, so
that should be
that's how I would rule it.
But
I guess it would just be just a ruling fussiness of like we don't want things activating in deck, which I guess is fair.
But yeah, so Fortune Vision is clearly meant to evoke future visions, but also has the eyeball on it. So, like, it's not, I think, as iconic, but, you know, they're trying. It's good. So this kind of replaces the effect of Vision because its primary effect is when this card's activated, add a Fortune Lady from your deck to your hand. So it's a continuous piece, so it doesn't replace the field spell, but it does the field spell effect where you add a card.
And even within the realm of adding a card that mentions Fortune Lady, you can add this.
Yeah. So that would be good for searching their spell traps, because I think the primary problem is that this Fortune Vision is not searchable currently. So you can't search a spell trap to search a monster. You just have to hard draw it. It does have a soft once per turn. If a card you control is banished by card effect, except during the damage step, activate this effect. This turn, monsters you control can't be destroyed by card effects, even if this card leaves the field.
Yep.
Once per turn, if a card your opponent controls is banished by card effects after the damage step, you can make the next battle damage you take this turn become 0. You can only activate 1 per turn. So again, not like a proper like win more card, but like very funny form of interruption. If you banish your own cards to set up stuff like every, like you're using pass to like banish monsters to set up synchro plays or something, or whatever, you just like make it so that you're whatchamacallit, you're like you're protected. Again, not perfect because it's destruction, but still does interrupt some things. And then, you know, God help you, if you pull off the opponent effect, you just find a way to banish one of the cards your opponent controls, or they banish their own cards they control. You're just like, oh, one of the battles you do to me, the next time you do battle damage, 0. That can be game. That can mean you don't die right there. Like, very funny. They're also all soft per turns, and they are cans. So you can only activate 1 per turn, but hypothetically, if you could put more of them on field over multiple turns, you could activate like the battle damage effect multiple times. I don't think it would actually come up because it's all not during the damage step, so setting it up would be like a pain in the ass, but it's funny that they're all like soft ones.
Yeah, I mean, like with Fortune Visions, I got it's one of those silly cards, and like you said, like the battle damage reduction, same as tech modulation. Always, I think it's always an underrated spot until it suddenly comes up, and yeah, won't come up every game, but having that,
I mean, it's one of, like I said, it's one of those things where like
it.
that could be the difference between game on board or not, especially if your opponent just forgets that effect got to be procced, right? Like, if that happens in, like, their standby or something, or, like, early in their main, you do their combo and interrupt, and then you can do the shit like, well, you know, the next, well, guess what? The next battle damage I take, even if this card leaves the field. So you can't even, like, banish future or Fortune Visions with access code and swing. It's just the next time you take battle damage, it's zeroed. So, like, that could just be the game right there if your opponent forgets to calculate correctly.
Okay, sorry about that. Got to pull from work.
Do you have anything else? What I'm glancing through. Did we get through
just
all?
I want to mention, just for the art, Vision Resonator, which came out a couple of years ago. This was
right.
Red Dragon structure deck. Crimson King structure deck released in 2023. It has the eyeball of the Fortune Ladies upon him, and kind of has the color scheme of Past. Like he's got a little staff behind him. So, like, it's clearly meant to be related, but is also still mostly a Red Dragon Archfiend and a Resonator card. We will do a full Resonator episode sometime.
On the list, yeah.
Yeah, we'll put it back on the list. It'll probably win next week. Or next month, I should say. So we'll get back in there. Resonator is a Dark Fiend Tuner level 2 with 4/4. So, you know, it does have the stats like it's a Fortune Lady. If a level 5 or higher Dark is on the field, you can special it from your hand. You can only special Vision once per turn this way. If it's sent to the graveyard, add a spell trap that mentions RDA from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, like, it does technically, like, you could summon it if you had Fortune Lady Dark on the field, for instance, to make a 7. That would make Every, because Every just says Spellcaster Non-Tuner. I don't think you're running Vision Resonator in a Fortune Lady deck, but it is funny that they, like, set up the levels so that the synergy does work that way. And I would not mind if that's the direction they went with future support, if they figured out a way to bridge Resonator and RDA with Fortune Lady.
I just noticed he's got the fucking stupid head wings and the staff behind him.
No, like he's.
Oh, yeah,
this is
he's...
clearly like this would be like you would say Jack Atlas's way of repping Carly.
He's full on got the aesthetic.
Yeah. So
Oh,
like
yeah, for sure.
he's clearly related, and like I said, there is a cute combo. Like you could use this with Dark to be able to go into Every. I don't think it does enough in the deck that you would play this. But like I said, they had some cute ideas, but it's definitely much more of a resonator card for RDA than not. And like I said, Konami, hit me up. Fire off with whatchamacallit? Fire up Fortune Lady Future. You know?
Or, just have a card that in Parentheticals disguised as a Fortune Lady card, but just Red Dragon Lady. Fuck it.
Yeah, you could do that too. Parentheticals. We love parentheticals here. You could make a red card that does it. But also you could just get away with calling her Fortune Lady Red, and that would be probably Fortune. That would be a great pun because the way the names they are is Fortune Ready. So Fortune Lady Red would be Fortune Ready Redo. And if it was ready, it would literally be ready. Fortune Ready. Like there's
honestly,
there's puns
I
there.
feel like they could do two things. Like they could do honestly Red Fortune Lady or Red Archfiend Lady, or I don't know, something like that. There's a few things you could do.
Red Damon Lady would be it, but that.
Yeah.
Red Demon Lady.
Well,
Demon
that's why I
Fortune
think
Lady.
like Fortune Lady Red. But if you could work Damon in there in OCG, that could work as well. I think primarily like honestly, between the addition of Past and the way their deck works, their main deck monsters are pretty good. Like they have a decent amount of utility. You might want to add like one or two bridge cards to make it a little more sense. Like maybe give them a second tuner.
Yeah, it's a situation where I do feel like there are enough of pieces here that I don't think are at all bad.
Yeah.
Definitely old ass deck, so it's on a weird axis, but still a lot of the effects built around special summoning means that this deck in like a perfect world scenario of getting like tier 1 support could still be incredibly relevant because all the effects are off special, so you wouldn't need to be relying on too many normal
exactly
summon heavy
one normal
effects.
summon effect, and it's Wind, and that's already like Wind is the card that's going to be shaved the most because she's on normal and she's opponent spell traps. Like that's the card you play 3 of in your side if you're forced to go second, kind of a thing.
But would still be a powerful card to have in the
God
back.
knows going second, right? You set up your plays. If you can make it work and your opponent's got a lot of spell traps, you're just like, all right, cool. For my normal summon, Wind, pop 3 spell traps, goodbye. 2 spell traps, goodbye. Like, mean. Could be very powerful. So like, probably what they need is, like I said, I think they need a way to bring all their they need a spell trap searcher that brings all their spell traps together. So probably a spell trap that adds, or a monster effect again, but that adds a spell trap that mentions Fortune Lady or is Future Visions, if you want to keep that up. Or just get really silly, make a new version of the field spell that's like, future, like Fortune Lady Future Visions or something. Make it an archetypal card while still saying Future Vision. Like, there's room there for something funny. And I think they probably need some more extra deck monsters. Like, give them a couple other synchros with some different levels to go into, besides just the 7. Obviously, like, Past does level modulate, so you can set it up. But, you could put in, like, a 5 or an 8, for instance, and shake it up a little. You could do even, like, lowers, like, make a sync 5 could work with some stuff there. Give them a few more spell traps, and then, like, either give them, like, a funny card that just searches Osculapiscu, or, like, give them a reason to, like, fork into the Earthbound Immortal stuff. And
Random question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Isn't that Osculapiscu? There's no C in it, right?
Oh yeah, it is Osculapiscu. That's right. I think I hear other people pronounce it with a hard sound, but is it Osla?
It's Asla.
Yes,
ASLLA.
Yeah, there's not even a second A. I think I sometimes say Asa. Yeah, no, it's Osculapiscu. It is 2 syllables though. There's a space between Asla and Piscu.
Yeah. Asla.
Okay.
But there's no vowel between the S and the L, and I definitely fuck that up sometimes too. But yeah, Osculapiscu.
I didn't mean to call you out. I was just kind of like, wait a second.
Yeah. No, I'm like, no, it's good to catch, because like I said, I probably also say the vowels wrong. But that's a card that, like, level 10 Dark Winged Beast, you could figure out a way to search that. in the deck, you know. I'm not as up on the new Earthbound Immortals as a deck, but they did add like the new fusions and synchros to Earthbound. So like if
from what I recall,
break
majority
there?
of like the I guess Asta might fall into like something you play, but I do feel like the Earthbound Immortal like modernized deck is a very streamlined engine shenanigans, and they sometimes just play some of the bad
and
ones.
Piscu is a card. First of all, I'm pretty sure. Let me actually check if they've got the little graphic. Okay, no. So maybe it was only in like maybe in Duel Links or something. But Asla Piscu is the kind of card that like if you set it up right could do some FTK shit because it's, you know, destroy monsters your opponent controls, inflict 8. If you could loop that, that is like an FTK-able. That said, it does still require opponent's monsters, so it's not as mean as it could be. So I think that there's like setting up plays where you get to like cheat out Asla Piscu could work for the Fortune Lady deck, and several of their spell traps that do like banish monsters you control could set up to like get rid of it. Obviously, as was brought up by chat, you can't target Earthbound Immortals for attacks anyway, so the actual play with the old whatchamacallit, Slip of Fortune doesn't work because it only banishes the attack target. But you could retrain Slip of Fortune to be a card that, like, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, period, banish one monster you control to negate the attack, kind of a thing. Like, and even make it while you control a Fortune Lady and just not say it has to be the targeted monster. Because that could mean, like, you could, like, assuming you're doing, you know, we're projecting what these kinds of legacy supports do, you might do a thing where, like, they get a card which is like, oh, if you control, like, 2 Fortune Ladies, you know, you can special summon Asla Piscu or something, or, you know, you summon a lot of Fortune Ladies and tribute summon it or something. And then, like I said, if you have a card that names it, you could set up so you can banish it on your opponent's turn to blow up their board and do some burn damage kind of a shit. So there's room for that kind of stuff, and usually their supports work out there. Like I said, I don't know if the new Synchro and Fusion Earthbounds do synergize possibly with what Fortune Lady does. Maybe some new support could give them a bridge. Or you could, like I say, get away from that stuff completely. Like, and just add their own standalone support. And we'll see, because they do a lot of legacy support over the years, and a lot of them do get kind of funny.
Yeah, we can only wait and hope for good support.
Can wait and hope.
Remembered super quants, like,
I said wait and hope. Don't you dare put words in my mouth.
Also, another thing we didn't talk about because they are kind of loose, but like they did like retrains of the whole fucking psychic, like OG 5D psychic stuff, like Serene Psychic Witch and shit. They added a new teleport card, and it's like I think MBT had a good read that like it's probably not broken yet because it's still for a generic psychic deck that doesn't exist yet, but it does kind of like raise the market value of all psychic cards and psychic archetypes a little, like. And that's like I said, that's just straight up 5D's nostalgia. Like, that's the peak Synchro era is like, hey, we introduced this new type of psychics. Here's their deal. Oh, you could just play Interdimensional Nano Transporter. What I'm saying, Zed, though, is like I would give him a searchable card. You know, like if you set it up so that you can search, that gives you consistency. You can't. Well, it's a normal trap, so you can search Interdimensional Matter Transporter, but now we're talking about, like, playing, like, a Trap Tricks or, like, Labyrinth or Trap Trick or Trap Track type package in this deck, and it's like, nah, you don't need to be doing that. Anyway, it's after 11 p.m. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to get out of here.
End it.
Voth,
bye, everybody.
Won't leave until I let him go. But he's going to go join the crew for 14. Tune in tomorrow for another new 14 stream. We'll have a new poll up. I'm going to test it, but I think because it will be funny and relevant, I still do want to try and do the April Fool's episode next week because it will be on April 1st as the V card. I'm just going to briefly mention we don't know what it is yet, but it was announced at the start of this week that on Friday, V card will have more news about the tweet was phrased as like, "We've heard you, we're listening." So I'm expecting like a rule overhaul or an announcement of their future plans to like roadmap the game. So like it's funny. It was going to be super passe, but it will no longer be passe. It will be timely to do a V card related episode. So I'll try and make that work. I got a couple different tabletop simulator mods to try out and see which works best. So that should be next week if it goes to plan. That is everything. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out Lucky's Gorilla Tiamat Roll stream. I'm out of here. Good night.
I did have one thing to say.
Mega. Oh, okay. I won't end yet. Go for it. If it's on stream.
No, I was just want to send a message. I was just wasting time to have Lost stay a bit longer to be annoying.
Okay. We're gone.
Now.
We're gone. The joke fired, and the stream's over.